Introducing Dallas International Bank. Commerce at Field for bonus checking. Member FDIC.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome this time to a tale of the supernatural. Not frightening, not in the least horrifying, but intriguing, mystifying, strange. We all of us know that in this world there is a power greater than ourselves. Call it what you will. God, a force, the universal conscious. It exists. Some of us have experienced it, felt its touch in one way or another. But few have met with it in so unusual a way as the celebrated concert pianist Anton Walberg.
Lottie, my dear Lottie, if what you say is true...
It is, Anton. I know it is.
But impossible.
Nothing is impossible. We only think it is.
Lottie, I lost my hand. My right hand in that accident. My hand is gone. It no longer exists. And yet I am able to play.
True. Your hand no longer exists. But the spirit of your hand does. Only the body dies, Anton. The spirit never.
Our mystery drama, The Hand That Refused to Die, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Mandel Kramer. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Say, do you know what happens this time of year?
The swallows come back to Capistrano.
Nope.
The buzzards come back to Hinkley Ridge, Ohio.
No.
Bulldogs all over the world begin to shed.
Not even close.
Oh.
This, my friend, is the time of year when you can get a super little deal on the practical but elegant Buick Apollo. And just between you and me, it may very well be the best chance you'll ever have to buy a Buick.
I could have sworn this was Buzzard Day in Hinkley.
It makes good sense to use sense in the sun. Don't overdo and get overdone, 'cause the sun can age and can hurt your skin. So cover up or come on in.
Constant overexposure to the sun could be harmful. Your American Cancer Society advises moderation or protective clothing or sunscreening lotions. Remember,
Cover up or come on in.
You can paint your home in the same muted earth tone colors our colonial ancestors used to paint theirs. Hi, Frank Lieber here to tell you about True Value Hardware Store's True Test Supreme Latex House Paint. It comes in 24 Jamestown colors, like salmon gold, Chelsea blue, and Samoset gray. The colonials used dyes from roots and barks and mixed them with buttermilk of all things to achieve those colors. True Test Supreme Latex House Paint puts those same kind of colors into a rich, easy-to-apply latex. Latex, with the durability of a fine oil-based paint. It covers most surfaces in one coat. It resists stains, mildew, blistering, and smog. And it dries quickly, just 30 minutes. Painting tools clean up in soap and water. True Value Hardware Stores have True Test Supreme Latex House Paint in 24 Jamestown colors in white. True Test Supreme Latex House Paint. You'll find it exclusively at your nearby participating True Value Hardware Store.
Psychics tell us there is a life after death. Indeed, there are those who believe there are many lives after death, and others who hold a firm faith in reincarnation. We listen and go on about our daily lives until something happens that so affects our life, marks it, for good or ill, that we know there is unquestionably something, some invisible power, some unseen force of which we are a part. Anton Wahlberg began to realize this on the day he came home from the hospital to his luxurious penthouse apartment in New York City.
Welcome home, Anton.
Lottie, you. I thought you were in Chicago with your young prodigy.
He can get along without old Lottie Stern for a few days.
You arranged this, Alexis.
No, my darling, nothing was arranged. Lottie wanted to be here when you came home from the hospital, and here she is.
Well, arranged or not, you're more than a pleasant surprise, Lottie. You're what I need.
You depend on your old teacher too much, but I'm glad you do. It's very heartwarming for an ancient crone like me to be wanted, needed, by so handsome a man, so talented a man.
Handsome? Talented? I have only one hand now, Lottie. This left one. What good is it to be handsome? What use the talent?
Lottie, I need you, too, to cheer him up.
Well, of course you're depressed, Anton,
Depressed? There's no word to describe my despair, Lottie. Why did this happen? Why to me? I was at the peak of my career. I was Anton Wahlberg, one of the most celebrated concert pianists in the world. I was 7 weeks ago. I no longer am. Ended everything. My career, my life, ended.
There is never an end without a beginning, Anton. The closing of one door is merely the opening of another.
And what door might be open to me without my right hand?
Only God knows. And you will too, when you seek it. Now, speaking of which, I asked Ada to serve tea in the music room. Come, let us go and seek that.
Excellent idea, Lottie. Anton?
I'm not sure I ever want to enter my music room, my study again.
Oh, my darling.
Never mind the sympathy, Alexis. It is the worst thing in the world. Come on, into the music room. I, Lottie Stern, order you. You hear me, Anton?
Lottie, I don't think I can bear even the sight of the piano.
Anton, you must. So, your Ada has laid out a fine tea for us. Cucumber sandwiches, your favorite chocolate cake.
Who opened the keyboard?
The keyboard?
The piano keyboard. Alexis, I told you it was to be closed and never opened again.
I know you did, darling.
And you promised me. You promised.
No, I kept my promise. The keyboard was closed when I left to bring you home from the hospital. I checked it personally.
Well, perhaps Ada...
No, I gave her strict orders. She was not even to touch the piano, even to dust it. I'd do that, I said.
I cannot bear the sight of the keys. Close the keyboard. Damn it, I'll close it myself.
Oh, dearest, you're trembling.
Now, some good strong tea will take care of that. Alexis, darling, will you pour, please?
Lottie, the day I get an ounce of sympathy from you, that will be the day.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
More of this bread, Dr. Lonsdale, some butter?
Oh, thank you, Alexis, yes. Damn, there goes my fork.
Oh, Ada, another fork for Mr. Wahlberg, please.
With only one hand, I'll never eat again, either.
I'll have to give you some lessons in surgical techniques, Anton.
Surgical techniques?
As a surgeon, I can assure you, you'll be astounded at what can be done with one hand. I know.
If anyone does, you do, old friend. You saved my life.
No, the doctor in Blaneyville.
Butcher.
You mustn't say that, Anton. Remember, he had to remove your hand to save your life. He had no option.
What was that?
Well, it sounded like... It couldn't be. Lottie, did you hear it? There it is again. Someone is fooling around with the piano in my study. Let's see about this.
Wait, I'll go with you.
I, too. Oh, no.
The piano keyboard is open again.
Again, Anton?
Yes, before I came home from the hospital this afternoon, I asked Alexis to make sure the lid of the keyboard was closed.
And it was when I left here.
But it was open when I got home. I myself closed it then, and now it's open again. Ada must be responsible for this.
It's in the kitchen, Anton.
Well, someone... And who struck that middle C twice?
It's curious.
It's beyond reason. It's incredible.
I'll close the lid.
No, leave it open. And let's rejoin Lottie in the dining room.
Lottie, we found the keyboard open again.
Who was in there, in the music room?
No one.
Someone struck middle C.
No, Madam Stern, there was no one there.
Someone was. Perhaps you could not see him or her.
You mean a spirit, a ghost?
Yes.
I'm afraid I don't believe in ghosts.
I do.
Come now, Lottie, don't tell us you've ever seen a ghost.
No, not seen. But I have felt them near me. To tell you the truth, Anton, they are always near me.
You mean the ghosts of those you knew in Auschwitz?
Yes.
Oh, Madam Stern,
Gordon, dear, don't be offended, but she prefers not to talk about it.
Oh, I understand. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Here, Lottie. Have some more potatoes and gravy. That will solve everything.
It helps.
Oh, it's all right, Anton.
Please, everyone. It's just that when I get to thinking that maybe it might have been saved if you, Gordon, had operated instead of that Barringer.
You smashed your car into a tree. Your right hand went through the windshield. It was so cut up, so mangled.
You could have saved it. I see it in your eyes. You could have.
Anton, I'm not so sure.
But there is a doubt in your mind. That little doubt means I might never have lost my right hand.
Anton, darling.
Excuse me, please.
Excuse me, I must go to him.
No, you stay here.
But I think he...
Please. My dear, you are a wonderful wife to Anton, a beautiful and capable woman. But at times like this, he needs Lottie Stern. All right. Get it out of your system. Come on, let it come, all of it.
Lottie.
I know. Who would know better? My hands, you see? You know what they did to them. The Gestapo at Auschwitz.
I know. They broke your fingers one by one.
And when they healed, broke them again.
And your career, Lottie, that was ended too.
Yes, it was. And I felt, well, there are no words. How can you describe the sudden darkness in the soul, the emptiness in the heart? The physical pain, it was bad. Each finger snapped. It was horrible. The pain, unbearable. But all this, nothing compared to what went on inside me. So, my darling Anton, I know what you are going through. I know.
Now, Lottie, what am I to do? Tell me, what am I to do?
What everyone does when all else fails.
And what is that?
Turn to God.
Lottie, I don't believe in God. Not after what happened to me.
Did you believe before?
I don't know. Never thought about it much.
Wait, let me. Hello? No, this is Madam Stern. Yes, he is. One moment. It's for you, Anton. Someone named Bill Stone.
Oh, yes. A friend of mine works for United Press. Hello, Bill. Oh, well, thanks. Oh, well, I'm going to be all right. Yes? What? Strangled?
Gordon and I thought that...
Shh. Anton's on the phone. Something.
It's impossible. Well, Bill, I know you better than to think you play any kind of sick joke on me. I don't care what they say at the FBI. Somebody made a mistake. Yes. Oh, well. Yeah, thanks, Bill. Thanks for calling.
Anton, what is it?
That was Bill Stone. You know Bill.
Of course.
Well, he said a story's just come in over the wire from Blaneyville.
So that's where you had your accident, just outside Blaneyville?
Yes. Dr. Barringer was found dead this afternoon in his office. Strangled.
Strangled?
By one hand.
One hand? The bruises show
that one hand strangled him to death. A right hand.
Well, this is the strangest.
It's more than strange, Alexis. It's impossible.
Why impossible, Anton?
Because, Lottie, they say it was my right hand that strangled him.
Strange. Bizarre. Words, unless, like Anton Walberg, you have experienced them. Then, strange, bizarre, macabre change from words to something alive in your bloodstream. Well, you're experiencing them now. You're imagining them. And there is nothing more alive than your imagination. I'll be back shortly with Act 2.
May I help you, sir?
One hair shirt, please, one bed of nails, and that cat of nine tails for self-flagellation.
What's your rush? Why, try for sainthood in one weekend.
It's not that. It's just that my old hair shirt is at the cleaner's. My bed is getting dull, and my whip has been going soft on me.
You punish yourself a great deal?
I get what's coming to me.
But isn't it a bit overmuch?
Oh, I deserve more than I ever get.
One cat o' nine tails coming up. And do you want a bed of nails with or without the saw?
Cancel your appointments for self-punishment. Break the whip. You have no right to treat one of God's creatures, you, in that way. He forgives you. Forgive yourself. A nudge toward self-respect from the Mennonite churches.
Thank you. This is your host for Name the Bank, Bob Hartthrob. And here's tonight's first guest, Mr. Ralph Tishman. Welcome to Name the Bank, Mr. Tishman.
Thank you.
Now, if you'll just take your place inside our Name the Bank think tank, we'll get on with the show. Can you hear me all right in there, Mr. Tishman?
Yes, I hear you. It's a little warm in here, though.
Fine. Now, may I have the first clue, please? Mr. Tishman, there's a bank in Dallas that offers a multi-service checking account for only $3 a month and gives you $10,000 accidental death insurance. Can you name the bank?
Federal Reserve Bank?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Tishman, but that's not quite right. You see, this bank gives local and national discounts, reduced rates on motels and car rentals.
I know. They belong to FDIC.
That's right, Mr. Tishman, but you see, we need the names to try again. Unlimited check writing, no minimum balance, all the checks you need.
I know it.
What?
Exchange Bank.
Exchange Bank. You win, Mr. Tishman. You name the bank. The tab pay setter account from Exchange Bank. Harry Hines at Mockingbird. No gimmicks, just a good deal.
Hey, let me out of this tank.
Certainly no greater tragedy could happen to a concert pianist than the loss of his right hand. And that is what happened to Anton Wahlberg 7 weeks ago. Now, in the music room of his expensive penthouse apartment in New York, Anton Wahlberg has received news that shocks him and his guests.
They've made a mistake at the FBI, that's all.
Darling, where did the FBI come into this?
The hand that strangled Barringer touched things in his office. Left prints. The Blaneyville police wired them to the FBI, and my prints are on file.
They are?
Some years ago, Gordon, I took out a $2.5 million insurance policy on my hands. Thank God I did. And the insurance company naturally wanted my fingerprints for identification.
Oh, I see. And the prints on file at the FBI...
Matched the prints found in Barringer's office.
A mistake. I doubt if the FBI makes mistakes with fingerprints.
Lottie, what else could it be? Lottie, will you stop looking so mysterious? You see, no hand, Lottie. It was cut off here. It's dead.
Is it?
That's a curious thing to say, Madam Stern.
Dr. Lonsdale, what would they have done with Anton's severed hand?
Well, it would have gone to the nearest mortuary. Very likely the coroner or medical examiner would examine it. And then it would have been destroyed.
The hand, but not the spirit of the hand.
Oh, good Lord, we're back in the psychic world now.
I believe. You don't. You will.
I very much doubt that, Lottie. What I do believe is that my hand could not have strangled Dr. Barringer. If it were possible, which it isn't, why? Why would my hand strangle Barringer?
You know the answer, Anton.
The hand could have been saved. Because it wasn't. Revenge?
What else?
Oh, nonsense. That's what else.
Alexis,
No
I
more.
tell you,
Please. I asked you and Gordon to dinner tonight to help cheer Anton up. It's turning out to be the most depressing evening one can imagine. Now, if you don't mind, from here on in, we're going to talk about cheerful things.
Come in.
Alexis said you were in the music room. You didn't want to be disturbed.
So naturally, you disturbed me.
I must talk to you. And you have shut yourself away for nearly a week now.
Lottie, I don't want to see anyone, including you.
Now, Anton, as your coach
of what? A one-handed concert pianist?
All right, as your business manager.
You should reduce your fee by half. I'm only half a man, less.
All right, as your friend.
Yes, Lottie. Yes, you are that. And the best anyone ever had.
So then you listen to me. You cannot go on burying yourself in this room.
Why not?
You are anything but... All right, so you have one hand. There's much you can do with one hand. You can teach.
I would loathe it.
I did too, at first. Almost. I couldn't bring myself to it. Today, I am glad I did. It has been an experience as rewarding... Well, almost as rewarding as playing.
I find that hard to believe, Lottie.
You are going to stop brooding. You are going to come back into the world, Anton. You are going to become active again and take an interest in life starting tonight.
Tonight?
My new prodigy, Raphael Klein, the one I left in Chicago to come to you, he is performing tonight at Carnegie. Now, I want you to hear Raphael. You must hear him, because you are going to be his teacher, his coach.
You're his teacher, his coach.
And I am old. I am too old to handle the younger generation. Raphael needs many things you can give him. Your fingering. Yes, Anton, I said your fingering. You can demonstrate that with one hand. Your interpretation, especially of Beethoven, and above all, your dedication. The need to practice. Which reminds me, have you?
Have I what?
Practiced.
You know, I think you're going mad, Lottie. Practice with just my left hand?
Well, keep the piano in tune at least.
The hell with the piano!
Did you hear that?
Piano string losing tension. It happens to a piano and isn't played.
So do me and the piano a favor. Play it.
Do me a favor and get lost.
All right. But you'll come tonight.
Oh, have I any choice?
No.
All right, I'll come.
One thing more. I have, not good news.
Is there any other kind?
No, be serious, Anton. This, has to do with money.
Oh?
About the insurance on your hands.
Yes.
The $2.5 million. It may be the company isn't going to pay it.
What?
Oh, no. Come on, calm yourself. There's nothing definite about this yet. But I talked this morning with the senior vice president. He asked me to come and see him. I went. He said that according to the Blainville police report, the accident, well, you were at fault.
Me? At fault?
Anton, did you fall asleep at the wheel? You wouldn't lie to Lottie now, would you? Did you?
Yes. Damn it, I was tired, Lottie, exhausted. The schedule you set up for me, a night in Atlanta, a night in Aiken, a night in Baton Rouge, a night here, a night there, traveling every day, what would you expect?
You could have told me that you are getting older. All right, now. Tonight, my place for dinner, and then we go on to Carnegie.
But what about the $2.5 million, my insurance?
We'll see. We may have to sue.
Lottie, we will have to sue. I'm nearly broke, Lottie. Without that money, I might as well be. I will be. I'll see to that.
What do you mean?
I mean, I can't take anymore, Lottie. I can't suffer anymore. I'll kill myself. What was that?
Need you ask?
What's an unseen hand? An invisible hand.
Your hand, Anton.
Oh, no.
What else?
But it's impossible. And if it were possible, why?
Because you said you would kill yourself. And your hand, the spirit of your hand, protested.
But it is dead.
E101 through 104 after you, Alexis. Thank you, Lottie. Now you, Anton. Here, you sit between us.
What a pity that Gordon couldn't make it at the last minute.
Well, emergency operations, too bad. Well, he will hear my Raphael another time, for he will someday be famous. You are silent, Anton. You say nothing.
What's to say?
Oh, you don't always have to say something. You could be just pleasant.
I will be, if I can think of anything to be pleasant about.
Raphael Klein will change your mood. He will play first Chopin Fantasy Impromptu. It is one of your favorites.
A favorite I shall never be able to play again. Ow.
What is it, Anton?
Now, look, Lottie, enough is enough.
What are you talking about?
You slapped my face.
I didn't touch you.
Yes, you did.
Anton, I didn't.
Lottie, look at his cheek.
Yes. It's red, as if someone did slap him.
You?
I assure you.
Later.
Oh, look, Alexis, isn't that young and handsome?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that, too, is good for the box office. The women will go mad over him. Anton, well, what do you think?
I don't know yet.
His arm. Raphael Klein's right arm. Something's happening.
There's trouble, some sort of trouble.
God, it's as if he's fighting some invisible force. Look.
Lottie, this is unbelievable.
His right arm is hanging by his side, but his left hand plays for both the right and the left. I can't believe this is happening. I cannot believe it.
Chopin cannot be performed with one hand, but he's doing it. It's a miracle.
Here's his dressing room cover. Oh, Raphael, why did you leave the stage after the Chopin?
I can't go on, Lottie.
After performing a miracle, you can't go on. The entire audience is on its feet calling for you, and you can't go on.
After what just happened?
What did happen out there, Mr. Klein?
It was as if... Oh, you're Anton Wohlberg.
Yes. Well, go on. Tell me, what happened to you?
Some force suddenly gripped my right arm. Began to pull my hand, my right hand, off the keyboard. I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was having some sort of seizure. I was going mad, or I don't know what.
And then?
My left hand kept playing.
You mean you kept playing with your left hand?
No, Lottie. No, my right arm. It was forced down to my side, and I was scared. I was so scared I couldn't have gone on playing with my left, and I didn't. It did.
Your left hand went on playing by itself?
I certainly didn't go on playing. My left hand didn't even feel to be a part of me. I couldn't have done what my hand did, play for both the right and the left.
But we saw. You must have practiced.
Lottie, how can you practice the impossible? The fantasy cannot be played with one hand.
But you did it?
No, not me. I don't know what, but... Not me. There's no understanding this, no understanding it at all.
We will talk of this later after the concert.
Lottie, I told you I can't go on. I'm shaken up. I'm a bunch of nerves.
Better you control your nerves and we return their money. Now pull yourself together, Raphael, and go out there.
Lottie,
go.
Do as Lottie says, Mr. Klein. There's greatness in you, but you'll never reach it if you let nerves take the upper hand.
All right. I'll go back on then.
Lottie. Anton, should you have sent him back on stage? He's terribly shaken.
He must learn control. He must learn discipline. Discipline is everything.
Even to performing miracles?
What do you mean, dear?
No, even the thought is foolish.
What thought?
Klein, he's young, inexperienced. I'm a veteran of the concert stage, skilled, practiced, experienced.
So?
Well, if his left hand could perform like that, why not mine?
Oh, my dear.
He did it. His hand, yes, it seemed like a miracle, but was it? It moved up and down that keyboard so fast it appeared to be in two places at once.
True, that's very true.
You know what I think?
What, dear?
Another foolish thought, perhaps, but I think it was my hand that gripped his arm out there tonight.
Now, darling.
I know it's crazy, but could it be that the hand, my hand... Lottie, the spirit of my hand was trying to show me what can be done with one hand?
Can Anton Wohlberg possibly find enough faith in himself to, well, perform virtual miracles at the piano? Surely this seems to be what the spirit of his hand is trying to tell him, that he can. And yet, really now... Is not the impossible impossible? We shall see when I return shortly with Act 3.
Some research experts say you can't taste the difference between beers.
Well, if they're right, then Anheuser-Busch wastes a barrel of time Beechwood aging Budweiser. Only they don't think so. Brewing beer right does make a difference. And they're betting a bundle that you can taste the difference in Bud. When it comes to brewing Budweiser, the Anheuser-Busch choice is to go all the way because they still care about quality. Look at it this way. If the Bud people have a choice between what some experts say and what beer drinkers say, well, you'd better believe they'll go with you beer drinkers every time. When you say Budweiser, you said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
You're doing more. We're doing more. The Dallas Times Herald.
We're going to make September 22nd the biggest Sunday in 1974 with Texas 75, a special Times Herald report on the state of our state. For months, our reporters have been busy collecting facts, and what they've come up with is an encyclopedia of information for busy people of all ages and interests. Did you know the Salesmanship Club of Dallas sponsored the first PGA Tour here? And that Texas leads the nation in number of rodeo performances each year? Everything you ever wanted to know about Texas in one quick reference source. Texas 75 gives you what you'd have to pay for in an almanac. And it's free in the September 22nd Dallas Times Herald. Subscribe now. Call 744-6101. Texas 75. It's another reason why the hare finally beat the tortoise.
What is spirit? What is it that lives in you and in me that impels us to make supreme efforts now and then and nags us when we fail? And yes, leaves us in peace when we succeed. All religions teach that it is a spark of God that burns deep in our souls, and we are put here on this earth to learn how to fan that spark into flames. Anton Wahlberg has touched that tiny spark, but wonders now if he can fan it into flame.
I can't do it. I can't. It's impossible. I was a fool to think it could be anything else.
You have been trying for less than a week.
I shouldn't have tried at all. What Raphael Klein did that night, there was something supernatural. It had to be. But this piano isn't supernatural, and neither am I.
All right, Anton. You have practiced enough. Now, Anton, I must speak to you. I spent several hours at the insurance company today.
Several hours?
Yes, they had much to tell me, much to show me. There is more than enough evidence to prove negligence on your part, Anton. Evidence that proves you were driving at approximately 75 miles an hour at a time when you were in an exhausted state and you must have fallen asleep at the wheel.
They deny the claim.
Well, they offer a compromise, a settlement.
I will not.
Now, you will wait a minute. Always you will not this and you will that. Now, please, listen. And then if you want, you throw a tantrum.
I'm listening.
All right. The terms of the policy are clear. They're all too clear. They are well within their rights, the company, not to honor the claim. Still, you have paid the premium for many years and they wish to be fair with you. So they offer you the compromise. They settle for $100,000.
Fair. They settle $2.5 million for $100,000. How long can I live on that? That's peanuts.
So you will live on peanuts until you discipline your left hand to perform for the right one as well. Now don't look at me as if I'm crazy. It can be done. You saw it done. You saw the spirit of your hand pointing the way, showing you.
You are not only old and fat, you are mad. Absolutely.
Okay to come in. Ada said we'd find you in the music room.
Come in, Gordon. Come in.
Madam Stern?
Oh, Dr. Lonsdale, it's good to see you.
I apologize again for missing your dinner, the Klein concert the other night, but couldn't be helped.
You are forgiven.
Well, Anton, you wanted to see me?
Yes, I'd like your opinion, Gordon. The opinion of a professional man, a man who knows what he's talking about when it comes to the human body and what it's capable of.
Yes?
Gordon, Raphael Klein did a remarkable thing the other night.
I know. I read the critics the next day. He did the impossible, I understand.
But he did it.
Lottie, please. Gordon, what I want to know, what I want you to tell me, can I duplicate what Klein did?
Play a piano concerto that requires two hands with only one?
Yes. Lottie says I can. I say I can't. I've tried for nearly a week now, and I find it impossible. In your opinion, if I were to go on trying, could I do it?
Well, I've been thinking about what Klein did and puzzling over it, and frankly, I can't explain it. I understand his right arm suddenly became paralyzed. Is that so, Madam Stern?
You might put it that way.
Oh, what other way would there be?
Well, that night, in the excitement of what happened, I'm afraid we all acted a bit stupidly, Gordon. I'm ashamed to say that even I believed that my right hand, the spirit of my hand, had taken hold of Klein's right arm and forced it down to his side. You may well look at me as if I were out of my mind, Gordon, but I did think that at the time.
I can see you've changed your mind. And you, Alexis?
Well,
Madam Stern?
No, I have not.
But, my dear Madam Stern,
You
it
do
is
not understand, Dr. Lonsdale. Some curious things have happened, things which cannot be explained in the normal way. The fingerprints that prove Anton's hand strangled Dr. Berenger.
Well, a mistake in the fingerprint.
You know that's not probable.
It's possible.
That piano there, it has played with no one near it. Played by an unseen hand. How do you explain that?
That's a tough one, huh?
Gordon, I apologize. I didn't ask you to come here to put you through an inquisition. All I want to know is, do you think I can do what Klein did that night? I don't mean perform miracles. I mean with practiced discipline, could I train my left hand to move quickly enough, skillfully enough to do the work of both?
No. No, of course not. You did...
Gordon! Gordon!
My throat. It's choking.
What's strangling? The hand! It is the hand!
I command you, stop! You hear? Stop!
Oh, good Lord.
Are you all right?
I hope so. Whatever gripped my throat, the power, the strength,
It was the hand. Now I know.
Anton.
No, Alexis. Now I believe. The other night, you remember, Lottie, when I said I'd kill myself if the insurance company denied my claim? The hand banged angrily on the piano. It was telling me I was wrong to think such things. In Carnegie Hall, just before Klein came on stage, I said I'd never be able to play again, and the hand slapped my face. And then the hand, the spirit, demonstrated through Raphael Klein what the human body can accomplish. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to do it, and if it's humanly possible, I will. With God's help, I will. I can't, Lottie, I can't. Look at my hand. It's swollen with practice, numb with the effort of trying and failing. I said I would do the impossible with God's help, but even God has given up.
Yes. He gets tired too sometimes.
Nowhere near as tired as I am.
Maybe you are trying too hard.
Can you try too hard?
I think maybe, perhaps. Sometimes, I learned this in Auschwitz. It is better to stop trying and ask God to help you make the effort. After all, He has to make the effort too.
And what do you do instead?
You lean on Him instead.
Oh, come, Lottie.
No, I mean it. We are controlled by the spirit within us. It was only when I stopped thinking and so stopped trying, leaned on God, and the silly thought could be He leaned on me too. So much easier for both to lean instead of making an effort temporarily, to give a little rest. Well, things worked out. When I stopped pushing, life stopped pushing back. And maybe Who knows? Maybe we didn't understand the hand.
Not understand it?
I don't know. Well, anyhow, I have come to ask you a favor, Anton. A big favor.
Of course, Lottie. Anything.
I cannot coach Raphael any longer. I am too old, and he is beyond me now. But not beyond you. Not yet even approaching your skill. Now, I know that you don't want to teach. All right. I don't ask you to take him on permanently, but would you... He wants it. I want it. Would you coach him now and then?
No, Lottie, I couldn't.
But why not? A half hour here, a half hour there, when it's convenient.
Shall I tell you the truth? I couldn't bear it.
Why not?
Because he is young, and I am not. He is on the way up, and I am finished. He has 2 hands.
Yes. Well, I'll tell him. He will be disappointed.
I'm sorry, love.
It's all right. Oh, before I go, I almost forgot. Here's the check for $90,000, the insurance.
90,000? What happened to the other 10?
It's my 10%. I have to live too.
No, Alexis, no.
She's here,
I
darling.
don't
With
care.
him.
You don't care, so who cares you don't care? Come in, Raphael, come in.
Lottie, I am telling you...
Enough. Alexis, dear, please, some coffee.
Yes, of course, Lottie.
Now, Anton, you don't have to coach him, you don't have to teach him, but you can show him. And that is what you're going to do, because I, Lottie Stern, say that is what you're going to do.
All right, Lottie, what is it?
He is having trouble with the impromptu, and he has a concert in St. Louis in 10 days. You can show him in an hour.
All right. Go help Alexis make the coffee. All right, Klein, sit down. Play.
In the name of humanity, stop it. You call yourself a concert pianist? Play like that? You've had a few concerts, have you? So what? Big deal. Carnegie Hall? Big deal. You want to know something? You stink. The way you're playing that passage, I can smell it.
I'm sorry, Maestro.
You're sorry, and stop calling me Maestro.
Yes.
I told you that. Now try it again. With less odor.
Yes.
Stop talking, damn it, and play. Listen to me. Will you listen?
Yes, Anton.
Yes, Anton, but you don't listen. If you listened, you'd hear. And if you heard, you would do. A lot better than you've been doing for the last 5 hours. You tired?
Dead tired.
Have some more coffee.
It's cold.
We'll get used to it. Hot coffee backstage is always cold. How are your hands?
Okay.
You want a hot towel for them?
No, I'm all right.
And begin again. From the top.
No, stop it! You are terrible! There is no other word for the way you play. Terrible! I give you up!
No, I give you up!
You give me up!
You keep talking. Do it this way, do it that way. What do you think I'm made of? What the hell do you think I'm made of? If you know so well how it ought to be done, you do it.
I've only got one hand!
Then use it! Show me with your left hand. If you think you're such a hot-shot pianist, show me. Don't tell me, show me.
My God, I will. Get off that bench. Get off of it. Let Anton Wahlberg show you.
playing. For both hands. My left hand playing for both, but it's impossible. Play. Play! Go on, play! It was a trick, Lottie. All a trick.
What else?
He deliberately played badly.
He could play that passage better than you ever could, and does. He was a smash in St. Louis.
He'll be a smash in the world. He'll surpass me.
That is so difficult.
It makes you feel better to insult me.
Anton. Anton, we have been through so much together, so much. And now, a new life begins for you. You will be Rafie Klein's Madame Stern. His coach, his manager.
No, Lottie, I will be his Anton Wahlberg. There is only one Madame Lottie Stern.
True. So I'll coach you how to coach.
Yes, Alexis.
Oh, I'm sorry to disturb you two, but more tea?
Yes, darling. Thank you.
You wouldn't maybe have some schnapps, just a little, a touch. I am getting old. It's a chill in my veins.
Good excuse as any. Lottie? The piano there. Not a sound out of it since I agreed to coach Rafe.
Not a sound.
We were wrong. The hand. It was pointing the way to a new career.
No. Not the hand.
Not the hand?
God.
God works in mysterious ways, his miracles to perform. Says so in the Bible. Must be so. But how often in your life, how often in mine, have we moved toward one goal only to end up at another? And then, who's to say which was the right goal? I think God. What do you think? I'll be back shortly.
Excuse me, sir, but do you know what happens this time of year?
Right on, pal. I happen to know that right about now a freak blizzard falls on Dumont, New Jersey, and they're snowed in for the rest of the summer. Happens every year.
Nope. You see, what happens this time of year is that you can get a particularly good deal on what is perhaps the most luxurious midsize car on the market, the midsize Buick Century Regal.
Well, what good's a car when you're hopelessly snowed in?
Well, that's a point.
Sure, I've heard that phrase, give to the college of your choice. Good idea. And I know all colleges need more money, what with inflation and all. It's just that since I graduated, I've been so busy, not just with my career, but with the community affairs, too, I haven't found the time to reevaluate.
Take the time now and give more to the college of your choice. Now.
A public service message of this station and the Advertising Council.
I'm asked, these stories you tell us, are they true? I can only answer, what do we mean by true? Some actually happened in real life, as we say. Others, let me confess, are products of my imagination. And most important, yours. But how real is real life? And how real is imagination? Yours and mine. Difficult question. I try to answer it sometimes. Our cast included Mandel Kramer, Marion Seldes, Carol Teitel, and Russell Horton. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Now, a preview of our next tale.
What do you have in the pet carrier box?
I hate to tell you, but...
Oh, dear, not again.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, you are so careless with pets, Hugo. That's 4 cats already this year. Oh, you'll want to bury this one out by the roses, too.
If I may.
Well, it's getting a wee bit crowded, but I'm sure you'll find a nice little spot. What happened to that pussycat of yours, Hugo?
She had an accident.
Oh, Oh, what sort of accident?
To tell you the truth, she sort of lost her head.
Oh, you leave your door open and your poor little cat rushes out into traffic, particularly on that busy street you live on. What do you expect? Well, dear, you'd better hurry. It's getting dark.
Yes, that's what I was waiting for. Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
So now I'm a member of Dallas International Bank's bonus checking plan?
That's right. This $3 monthly charge is all you ever pay.
And there's never a monthly service charge on my checking account?
Never.
No matter what my balance is?
No minimum balance.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, don't forget your free personalized checks.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, and miss, you forgot your insurance policy.
A $10,000 accidental death policy? How much?
It's included free in Dallas International Bank's bonus checking plan.
Oh, well, I appreciate
No, don't get away now without your hospitalization benefits.
I'm getting all this for $3 a month?
All part of bonus checking.
You've been very kind.
Don't forget your discounts on car rentals, and
There's no end to the things you get with Dallas International's bonus checking, is there?
No, ma'am, it's big and getting bigger.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Miss?
Yes?
You forgot your purse. See Dallas International Bank, Commerce at Field for bonus checking. Member FDIC.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Nothing strikes a deeper chill to the heart than the maniac at loose, who strikes without reason and without warning. A creature of murderous whim who stalks the night, who repeats his odious crimes at random, and who, by the very purposelessness of his actions, evades the law and punishment. This story is about such a man. As true a candidate for the Hall of Ill Fame as Jack the Ripper or the Boston Strangler.
Sergeant, where the Sam Hill is Detective Renzulli? Hasn't he gotten back from that code 2 yet?
Hi, Lieutenant.
Oh, Tony, you're back. What did you get?
Female Caucasian height about...
Never mind the vital statistics. Did you get a make?
Well, proceeding on instructions to the scene of the crime...
Tony.
The perpetrator has...
Just speak English. Is it another one?
Yeah, Lieutenant. Just a torso, like call the rest. She didn't have any head.
Our mystery drama, The Trouble with Murder, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Robert Morse. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act 1.
Ever see a beer drinker pour his beer real easy down the side of the glass? Maybe you do it yourself. If so, the Budweiser brewmaster thinks you're missing something, especially if you're a Budweiser drinker. You see, Bud is brewed, so it will kick up a healthy head of foam. Exclusive beechwood aging and natural carbonation make it a lively brew. Well, anyway, pouring Bud plunk down the middle of the glass helps bring out the best in that clean white Budweiser foam and real beer aroma. It also helps you get the full benefit of a taste, smoothness, and drinkability you'll find in no other beer at any price. Remember, brewing beer right does make a difference. Next time, pour that Budweiser right down the middle and see for yourself. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
Calling all juniors, get ready for action at Margie's with the greatest looking famous name fashion pants, just $9. And complete the look with the newest shirts and all kinds of sweaters, cardigans, vests, pullovers, and more. Just $5 to $9. So hurry, get into the action. Shirts and sweaters just $5 to $9 and fashion pants just $9. Starting this Friday at all Margie's.
Shop Margie's, Margie's today.
The football season really arrives in the Metroplex this weekend. Here, 5 games on KRLD in 3 days. The high school game of the week Friday night, Texas A&M Clemson Saturday afternoon, SMU North Texas State Saturday night, the Cowboys in Atlanta on Sunday, and cap it off with Oakland and Buffalo on Monday Night Football. Hear it all on KRLD, sports voice of the great Southwest.
What prompts a human being to commit a senseless and savage crime? The reasons are as many and varied as the human brain is capable of conceiving. In the case of the Brooklyn headhunter, as he came to be known, at least 2 motives were ruled out. The girls had not been assaulted, and robbery appeared unlikely, since although the torsos were nude, all of them wore either rings or earrings of some considerable value. And by all odds, the most tantalizing question of all was, since the bodies kept being recovered, where were the heads?
This dingaling has got to be a surgeon or at least a medical student, the way the heads are. Well, whoever he is, we've got to find him.
Excuse me, Lieutenant.
What?
My name is Hugo Mintner, a citizen. I want to make a complaint.
Would you mind seeing the sergeant sitting at the desk, citizen? I'm talking police business to the detective.
I want to talk police business, too.
Look, Mr.
Hugo Mintner.
All right, now, Mr. Minter.
No, with an N.
What?
Mintner, not Minter. She was an actress in the silent films, Mary Miles.
Oh, some days it don't pay to get up. Well, whatever your name is, why don't you take your complaint to the sergeant?
Because in my experience, Sergeant Danielson never listens to or takes any actions on my complaints. Nor does Sergeant Brader or Sergeant Fryhouse or the one with ulcers who never gives out his name.
You've been here before.
Naturally.
A chronic complainer, a repeater. Well, what is it you complain about, Mr.
Mintner?
Citizen?
Well, various things. Tonight it happens to be acid rock.
You don't like rock?
Not when it's loud enough to split the eardrum.
Your neighbors are playing music too loud. Knock on the wall.
The reaction is only to turn it up further.
Where do you live, mister?
Well, Columbia Heights.
Now, what do you do for a living?
I'm an artist.
Unemployed, huh?
On the contrary. I work for Savoyard Studios as a draftsman on graphics and cartoon figures. And for a living, too.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'll do. You go to the desk, swear out your complaint, and I promise you, once I'm through with the detective here...
I suppose it's really hopeless to get the police to pay proper attention to me. I know the moment I'm out of sight, I'll be out of mind.
You ain't kidding, Dailing. Okay, Tony, now we've got him out of here. Let's get down to the real problem. I've got to get the boys upstairs off my back about this headhunter. Let's hope this time we can get a lead that at least might start us on the way to finding out who he is.
That's what makes it so very difficult with the police. They just are not personally interested in my problems. It's really what started it all in the beginning. And of course, by now, it's all gotten quite out of hand. If I'd only gone to them a year ago. But you see, they never pay any attention to me. They never have. And that's what stopped me from going to the police. Not from what has just happened again. So here I am, having to make an extra visit, besides my regular weekly one, to Aunt Minerva in Flatbush.
Oh, hush up, Rosebud. Well, Mrs. Suppleman, I'm afraid I'm giving you a card you want.
That will be the day. Away with over half the pack gone, I should load up with a king. Here.
That's very generous of you, Mrs. Koppelman. Gin.
What is the card you turned over? I knew it. That was my gin card.
Oh, who could that be? Let me just peek who it is. Oh, sakes alive, it's Hugo. On a Thursday. That's not his day.
Well, while you let your nephew in, I'll say goodnight.
Oh, you don't have to run, Bernie.
Oh, I would not intrude on family.
Hello, Aunt Minerva.
Oh, Hugo. Dear boy, this is a nice surprise.
How are you, Mrs. Koppelman?
At my age, why complain? You brought Minnie a new pet?
Oh, not exactly.
Excuse me. I did not mean to pry. But I see you carrying the box. See you tomorrow, Minnie.
Of course, Benny. Well, come in, Hugo.
Thank you, Auntie.
What do you have in the pet carrier box?
I hate to tell you, but...
Oh, dear, not again.
I'm afraid so.
Oh, you are so careless with pets, Hugo. That's 4 cats dead already this year.
That's the way the ball bounces sometimes. I hope you're not too angry with me.
Oh, of course not, you poor boy. You're so kind and gentle. That's what makes it unfortunate. You have such bad luck with pussycats. Oh, you'll want to bury this one out by the roses, too.
If I may.
Well, it's getting a wee bit crowded, but I'm sure you'll find a nice little spot. Well, the spade is in the lean-to, and while you're putting poor Pussy to rest, I'll brew us a little tea.
Get away, you!
Oh, don't scold him. He just senses the presence of one of his own departed. Oh, hush, Rosebud. What's upsetting you, you sweet boy? Oh, dear. His hair's all standing on end, and... Hugo, look at what he has on his fur. It looks like blood.
It does. You see, Auntie,
It's from the box. What happened to that pussycat of yours, Hugo?
She had an accident.
Oh, what sort of accident?
To tell you the truth, she sort of lost her head.
Oh, you leave your door open and your poor little cat rushes out into traffic, particularly on that busy street you live on. What do you expect? Well, dear, you'd better hurry. It's getting dark.
Yes, that's what I was waiting for. Quite often, like now, this time, I've had this urge to confide in Auntie Minerva. I don't know, but somehow I've had the feeling that she would understand. Though she's so much older, we have so many things in common. But then I think to myself, if she really knew what I have inside this box, I don't know if she'd understand any more than anyone else would. Goodbye, Marilyn. You only die a little death. I will make you immortal.
Come in. What do you got, Tony?
This report of processing of fingerprints taken from the deceased in the torso.
Are the prints clear?
Oh, sure. Like I said, this one hadn't been in the water long enough for decomposition.
So her prints aren't on file anywhere?
Yeah, that's right.
What about identifying marks?
She had a mole on the sole of her left foot and appendicitis scar.
The doctor didn't sign his name by any chance?
No, real neat job.
So it's another dead end.
Well, it's tough to get a make on a body that hasn't got a head.
Why can't we find the other end just once? What does he do with them? Where does he get rid of the heads?
Well, did you get our little friend put away all right?
Oh, yes, Auntie. The tea is delicious, as always.
Oh, well, I feel just a little wicked, actually.
About what?
Well, I couldn't resist today lacing our tea with a little rum.
I think maybe I'll have another cup.
Well, it's awfully good for the arthritis. Oh, You're not getting a tinge of that by any chance.
Oh, no. I think I just got a little chill out there in the garden.
Oh, poor boy. So sensitive. Ever since you were a child. Everything affected you so. Hugo, how old are you now?
35 and a half.
You see, high time you settle down with a nice girl with a good sound head on her shoulders.
I think I'll have another cup of tea.
Don't forget it has rum in it.
I wasn't forgetting.
I think I might join you. It's really quite delicious. Good for what ails you, as Horace used to say. So lonely with him gone all these years. A person really ought to be married.
Well, a person has got to find the right girl first.
That's why I thought Gloria was for you. Of course, I only met her the one time, but I really thought she'd quite lost her head over you. Whatever happened to break it off?
I really would rather not talk about Gloria, if you don't mind. It was a rather, it was a painful experience for both of us.
Oh, well, if she hurt my boy, I'm glad she's out of your life. After all this time, I suppose she is a dead issue.
Oh, yes. Gloria is all of that. You see, Auntie, I don't want you to worry about me and having a girl, and I have other things to do first. It's too soon to tell anyone, even you, but I promise you, once the secret is out, you'll be the first to know, dear Auntie. I owe you that much.
You're such a sweet boy. You don't owe me anything at all.
Oh, you'd be surprised. I'd never have got ahead without you. That is, I mean, if it hadn't been for you, I'd never been able to get rid of Gloria. Shut her out of my mind and just got over her. And look, I really must go.
Oh, aren't you going to stay to dinner?
I'm afraid I can't.
Oh, well, all right, dear. I'll see you tomorrow for your regular visit. And we can have a nice long talk about Gloria and how to find a nice new girl you can lose your head over.
A person really feels terrible not to be totally honest with someone like Aunt Minnie. But there is the difference between the sexes and the generations, and then the very special circumstances that I'm involved in. It takes someone of very large vision to understand what it's all about, and how it all began with Gloria. I wonder if anyone would really understand it. I mean, if I explained it right out.
Jack the Ripper? The Boston Strangler? Could someone as inoffensive and humorless as Hugo Mintner join their august company? Are we faced with another Dr. Jekyll who can retrogress diabolically into Mr. Hyde? And is perhaps the single most important key in our private investigation the word humorless? I'll return very shortly with Act Two.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
I would like to ask a deceptively simple question.
Okay.
I say deceptive because few people seem to know the answer.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yeah, ready as rain.
Okay.
No, wait. I think that should be right as rain.
Oh, well.
No, you wait. Make that ready as I'll ever be, okay? Ready as I'll ever be.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question is this.
Yeah, go ahead.
What happens this time of year?
That's it. Huh?
That's the question.
That's the $64,000 question.
Yeah.
That's the one for all the marbles, right? That's the one that's on everybody's lips.
Yes.
That's the question. Well, as everyone should know, what happens this time of year is that Buick dealers are giving great deals on 1974 Buicks, which of course means that this time of year may very well be the best chance you'll ever have to buy a Buick. From the thrifty but surprisingly elegant Apollo to the dashing full-size LeSabre to the Electra, which surprisingly enough is the second largest selling luxury car in America.
Know-it-all.
The gardener's work is never done. Putting your plants to bed in the fall is as much work as waking them up in the spring. Hi, Frank Lieber here to tell you True Value Hardware stores stand ready to help. With a True Test 3-horsepower, 20-inch mower, for instance. It comes complete with a mulcher plate for just $79.99. True Value hardware stores have fall cleanup supplies, too, for your lawn or your flower bed. For instance, an 18-inch bamboo rake. It's lightweight and it's springy, so it does part of the work for you, just $2.33. And you can get a specialty garden cart. Its adjustable height rim holds plastic bags open for filling. Or remove the rim and use it as a hand truck for hauling heavy bushel baskets, just $8.44. You'll find those plastic bags, too, 7-bushel cordite leaf bags. Get a package of 10 for just $1.49. These lawn and garden supplies help gardeners get their work done before winter comes. They're just a few of the values at participating True Value hardware stores.
Run through the crime statistics for any major city. Just the sheer incidence of each crime. And you can wonder how any of them at all can be solved. The appalling weight of figures drowns the police departments, almost paralyzes them. Countrywide, some 6 million offenses. In any one of our main urban centers, an average of 40,000 for auto theft, 20,000 for robbery, over 500 for manslaughter or murder, and those are the ones reported. There are the others, like Hugo.
Riding back from Flatbush in the subway, the empty pet carrier box balanced on my lap because it was crowded. The rum in the tea I'd had kept me nodding. I had to fight against falling asleep, and so I had no defense left against other memories of the past year that filled my consciousness. Most of all, Gloria. I remembered how I first met her. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to jostle you.
Oh, that's okay, John. Any port in the storm?
Sure is raining. Oh, my name isn't John, it's Hugo.
Okay, Hugo. Right on boat out.
I'll try to get a taxi. But, could I drop you somewhere?
That's the best you have in mind?
Well,
maybe you're for real. Okay, honey, you get the cab. You could drop me by my hotel.
We get to my place sooner in your hotel. You like to stop off, maybe for a drink?
I don't know.
Dinner?
You cook?
Well, I studied, and I have an osso buco simmering.
How come you knew I was Italian?
I didn't. Are you?
Oh, well, like way back, but I dig that osso buco.
So, you want to stop at my place?
This weather, what can I lose? Make it your pad.
It serves.
It what?
I like it, too.
You autistic or something?
I beg your pardon?
All them pictures on the wall.
Oh, those. Well, yes. Well, those are just things I like. Someday, maybe I'll have my own to hang. Oh, here's your drink.
That's a Manhattan?
Rye and sweet vermouth.
Yeah. But rye first and then a touch of the other. Let me fix it, huh?
Oh, sure. I'm not very good with drinks.
That's okay. What are you good at, Hugo?
Well, I don't know. I never thought about it.
Whatever you do, you make money?
Oh, an adequate amount, I suppose.
Like, for example?
Well, before take-home, taxes and all that, depending on overtime, about $30,000 a year.
Oh, that's very adequate. Here, honey, try this.
That's very strong.
Oh, only the first sip. You'd be surprised how smooth it gets the next couple of times around.
It doesn't seem quite as strong now.
Well, keep at it. You'll like it.
I already do.
That's the first step. Now, how do you feel about me?
Well, I liked you from the very beginning.
No other ideas occurred to you?
Well, I'd like to kiss you.
Mm-mm.
Now what?
Oh, Do I have to tell you?
She was the most marvelous thing that ever happened to me. All I could think of was the Song of Solomon. Behold, thou art fair, my love. Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy teeth are as a flock of sheep that appear from Mount Gilead, and none barren among them. That's from the Bible. She was so beautiful. I wanted to make her immortal.
In the nude?
Because there is nothing more beautiful than the human figure.
Look, I never went that route. Dirty pictures. I know it pays good, but
This isn't dirty pictures. Please, I want to paint you.
You mean like a centerfold in a swinger magazine?
Well, something like that, but...
well, you get it if you put up. Anytime little Gloria strips down for the public view, it's got to be cash on the line.
I suppose I should have been warned by her attitude, but she was so beautiful that I couldn't wait to do what I'd always dreamed of doing. Capturing a real woman on canvas. Not drawing outlines that were a caricature of the human figure, mechanically reproducing lettering or someone else's sketch, but creating by my own hand the flesh and blood and soul of a real woman. No, please, don't move, please.
Look, Hugo, I didn't bargain for this. I'm just about frozen stiff. These prices that don't pay.
Is money all you think of?
Well, what else is in this for me?
I am putting an image of you on canvas that will never fade. I am making you forever immortal.
Oh, sure. Well, what magazine you going to sell it to?
Oh, you don't understand. Can't you appreciate that this is real art?
Only if you pay the fee, Buster.
But you know I promised to pay.
So right.
Gloria, don't.
So what?
Don't spoil everything.
Thanks a lot, Hugo, but there just isn't enough in it for me.
How much do you want? I've tried to pay you as much as I can.
You're kind of cute, you know? But you just don't reach where it's at. You couldn't hope to match in a week what I rake in an average night.
You mean, you're a professional?
Well, you're the first one ever registered a complaint.
You can't do that to me.
Oh, don't be silly.
I made you something special. A goddess. I mean, that's the way that I painted you.
Look, you want to think it's good? Okay. For me, I ain't all that hippie. And you could at least leave the bags out under my eyes.
You don't appreciate real art.
I think it's lousy.
I tried to make you the most beautiful woman since the world began.
Well, suit yourself. Just don't try to merchandise it unless I share in the proceeds.
What are you talking about?
Oh, look, Hugo, you hired yourself a pro. Any use you make of my body, you pay just like my regular job.
I can't believe what you're saying.
Well, you better believe it.
But I love you.
That's your problem.
You mean you don't return my love?
It's all in the open. You just have to be kidding. The only return involved here is what I get paid if you make a big sale.
I can't believe what I'm hearing.
Well, you better, Hugo. You made your bed.
Except I don't have to lie in it.
What's your way out?
I don't want to reach for it, but I won't let you walk out on me.
Well, how could you stop me?
Like this?
No, wait, you
I don't want to. I don't want to. But what else can I do? Gloria? Gloria? Oh, my God! I've killed her. I didn't mean it to happen this way. The madness that came over me was terribly sudden. Without control, my hands had spanned her throat, and she was dead. In that moment, the incredible was born. It had its own inexorable logic. The body was unclothed, and even if discovered, would be hard to identify. But the head was the problem. I was grateful for all my anatomy classes. A relatively simple problem. Over the bathtub. A complex circumferential cut, then a simple excision between the cervical and thoracic vertebrae. The body, out my overhanging window, in the dark before midnight, into the Hudson's receding tide. The severed head into the cat carrier box, the first foreign corpse to grace my Aunt Minerva's private pet cemetery. Even after the rest of Gloria was gone for good, and I filled up the hole, I was shaking like a leaf. I could scarcely finish up and smooth the earth as I gave it the last little pat. I found myself saying a little eulogy. Forgive me, Gloria. I didn't mean to do it. But at least I saved you from a life of sin. Poor Aunt Minerva. She was so concerned about me that she had something very special waiting for me when I got back to the house.
A nice glass of dandelion wine. Sip it slowly, Hugo.
Yes, Auntie.
Oh, you mustn't take on so. Poor gentle boy. All pussycats have to die sooner or later. Oh, what did you say she died of?
She had some throat trouble.
What did the veterinarian say it was?
Oh, she died before I could get her to the vet.
I'll bet it was a hairball.
Yes.
It can happen, you know, when you're not around. Awful thing is, probably the poor little darling just got strangled to death.
I guess you might say that's exactly what happened. During the 3 or 4 days I convalesced at my apartment, trying to shake the shakes, I'd sit long hours looking at my portrait of Gloria. It was the first oil I'd ever painted. More and more I became obsessed with incredible truth. I had lifted this girl from the filth and squalor of her professional life and given her an eternal life on canvas in which she would be forever beautiful and good. I had actually done her a favor.
The trouble with murder is threefold. First, that driven to a rage blinding enough, anyone is capable of it. Second, that it is irrevocable. Once done, it can't be undone. And third, well, we'll consider that with Hugo when we return shortly with Act 3.
Give your hand to a friend. Give your heart to your loves. But give your cold to contact. The sooner the better.
A common cold is a rotten thing. You miss so much. Sneezing, drips, and congestion can drag you down. Then ask yourself the contact question. 6 or 3 or 1? You'd need 6 cold tablets, 2 every 4 hours, or 3 ounces of Cold's liquid, 1 every 4 hours, or just 1 contact for up to 12 hours continuous relief of those symptoms. That's daytime, then nighttime relief. Both the others have things for aches and fever, and the liquid, something for coughs. Not found in Contact 600 Tiny Time pills.
Give your cold to contact.
6 or 3 or 1. Take Contact. Only as directed.
Oh, this dust and dirt I just cleaned yesterday. Where does it all come from?
Lady, there may be a dust storm in your home every time your heating and air conditioning system cycles on.
But we change our filters regularly.
That's good. But you may be solving only half the problem. Dust and dirt accumulate in air conditioning and heating systems no matter how good a housekeeper you may be. As air blows through the system, it picks up this unhealthy accumulation of dust and dirt and redistributes it throughout your home.
What can be done about it?
Guardian Power Cleaning has special, powerful equipment that vacuums away dust and dirt from deep inside your heating and air conditioning system. Unsightly dirt is cleaned from grill work. Guardian Power Cleaning does not repair systems or sell parts. We clean away unhealthy dirt and dust from your home heating and cooling system. Today, call Guardian Power Cleaning at 637-1520. Find out how you can have a safer, cleaner, and more healthful home.
It's like having your own guardian angel.
Where were we? Oh, yes. The third trouble with murder. One that Hugo will discover for himself as our tale continues. The fact that having once committed it and gotten away with it, it becomes easier to do it again. It's like learning to play a tune on the piano, save for one thing. Practice doesn't always make perfect. If only he could have let well enough alone.
So, how come the favorite nephew is not making his usual visit the past 2 weeks, Minerva?
Oh, he isn't my favorite. He's my only. Well, to tell you the truth...
Pick up the card.
I'm afraid he's been through an unfortunate love affair.
You mean his cat dying like that?
Oh, that upset him, of course. He's a very sensitive boy. But I'm afraid it's more than that.
My trick. So I will melt. Marriage in diamonds.
Marriage. I think that's just what Hugo had in mind. But apparently she jilted him.
So maybe they're both lucky. Ask me. Marriage. It could be a fate worse than death. Are you sure she's out of the picture?
Oh, yes. Hugo said she just disappeared into thin air.
A head just can't disappear into thin air, Tony. Get as many men as you need, start fanning out from there inland and up and downstream, and look for that head. We gotta find it.
Lieutenant, the body is in the river maybe 2 weeks. It's too late. Have a heart.
What I got running a precinct is an ulcer. Now, I want to make on that body because I got a lousy hunch.
What's that, Lieutenant?
That this guy could turn out to be a repeater. Just let him get away with it once. They might be tempted to try again.
After Gloria, at first I was so sick at what I'd done that I had to take a few days off from the studio. My hands would shake so much at work. I couldn't control them. But then lying in my room, looking up at my portrait of Gloria, looking so pure and chaste, and like the Song of Solomon, I began to realize that I had a call. Gloria would remain forever captured in oils, innocent, immortal. I had torn her from the arms of the devil, and there were other women, the girls, misguided children who needed me as I needed them. For now my whole life was painting.
Lieutenant Flagg.
What?
Another one? Oh, I knew it. I could feel it in my bones. Huh? No identification. Figures. This guy's a regular Bluebeard.
I was a saver of souls, an instrument of immortality, and so my gallery grew to 4, and my fear was all gone. It was all for their sakes. My lovely, purified girls who smiled down on me from the walls and whose remains floated in the river and fertilized my beloved auntie's roses.
Come in.
Hey, you was looking for me, Lieutenant?
Come in and close the door.
Yes, sir. What's the action, Lieutenant?
I've been looking over the file on the Brooklyn headhunter. I don't like the going over we're getting from the press, especially after the last torso turned up.
Well, how are you going to distinguish the perpetrator when we are unable to uncover the identification of the victims due to the decapitations?
You should have been an actor. Now, look. Sergeant Harkins is having Central File pull the dope on every missing dame in the last year that's anywhere near the age and weight of this last torso we fished out. We struck out on the first 3, but we've got a slim chance of getting a make on the 4th.
Yeah.
The mole on her foot and that appendix scar. Now, you are going to check personally with everyone connected with any missing dame reported in the last year, and you better find one with both those marks. I want this case closed before another one turns up.
It had been a year since it all began. I felt I had done my work. And besides, Auntie was getting more and more upset about the overcrowding in her pet cemetery. Perhaps, I thought, as I started to fall asleep, enough was enough. And yet, there was that one empty wall. As I drifted away, I could feel the tug of the call again.
Hey, mister.
Don't move, please.
I'm getting stiff. Can I have a smoke?
No. You're almost finished.
Oh, you ain't kidding. This is the coldest trick I ever turned. I must have been out of my skull when I agreed to do it.
You don't realize how fortunate you are.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, that I found you. That I'm about to lift you up.
I think you're real kinky. Hey, come on, huh? How about letting me take a break for a smoke, huh?
You don't need any breaks. It's finished.
Oh, you mean I put my clothes on?
No, come here first. I want you to look at yourself.
Hey. Not bad, you know. You made me look pretty good.
That was the object.
You gonna hang me with all the other babes?
Yes, I'm going to hang you when you're ready.
What do you mean?
We are members of two of the oldest professions in the world. Yours much older than mine, but very different.
Yeah.
I have a call to higher things, but you sold your soul to the devil.
Now, hey, wait a minute now.
But have no fear. I have been appointed to save your soul, as I saved these others, to make you immortal.
I told Archie you were some kind of a weirdo. Now, you keep away from me.
I can't. It's too late. You've been chosen.
Hey, lay off, will you? Don't get excited. Now, don't lose your head.
Not me. You're going to lose yours.
No.
Hey, this time, Lieutenant, we got him.
Got who?
The perpetrator, the headhunter, the guy...
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Now, what do you mean?
Well, the body we pulled out this morning, we got a fingerprint match. Here she is. Name's Flossie Henderson. She's a prossy.
Well, it's a start.
Now, wait a minute. You don't know the rest. I pinned down a Duke, a real fancy man, and I get the word from him she was posing last night for some artist named of Hugo Mintner. I got his address right here.
Tony, you're going to make second grade for this.
We going to pick him up right now?
With one stop on the way for a warrant.
Just a minute. I'm coming. Oh, who is it?
It's Hugo, Auntie.
Oh, goodness me. So early in the week. Just a minute, dear. Oh, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, dear, but one can't be too careful these days about opening... Oh, dear me, not another one, Hugo.
I'm afraid so, Auntie.
But you just buried the... Oh, look out for Rosebud. Close the door before he gets... Oh, my, he's gone. Hugo, you'll just have to go after him and catch him.
But, Auntie, I can't...
If you expect me to help take care of your pet, you'll have to help me with mine. Now, I'll just take the carrier and you go bring back Rosebud.
Well, he isn't anywheres in the apartment. He's taking a powder for sure.
Oh, no. We can't be this close and let him get away.
And you learn anything more from the super?
No, but this is our man, all right. Look.
Hey, yeah. How about those chicks, huh?
Concentrate on the faces. The one where the paint's still wet, that's Flossie, all right.
Yeah. And I recognize at least two of the others from photos in the file. Real lifelike, ain't they?
On the canvas, maybe. They were enough when we hauled them out of the river. Hello, headquarters, Lieutenant Flagg, 43rd Precinct. I want an APB on the wire immediately for a Hugo Mintner. Male, Caucasian, height 5'6", slight build, mouse brown hair, blue eyes, weight 150. Warn all arresting officers this man is a dangerous maniac and should be approached with extreme caution.
You ought to get rid of that cat. He's dangerous, Auntie. He bit me.
I'm not surprised under the circumstances.
What circumstances?
I am very displeased with you, Hugo. I might even say shocked. While you were gone, I looked into this.
Oh. You shouldn't have done that.
Nonsense. It's my cat carrier that I lent you. But certainly not for transporting foreign objects. And worse still, to think that you planted them in my rose garden.
You shouldn't have looked into it. Now I'm going to have to kill you.
Oh, nonsense. There's been quite enough of that already.
Well, what am I going to do?
We are going to sit down and have a nice long talk so that I can find out what this is all about.
And I really didn't mean any harm, Auntie. It just came over me in waves, and I felt I had a mission. I had a call to save these women from themselves, to lift them up and wash them clean, make sure they would be saved forever from the burning fires of hell.
So sensitive. You always were. Such a romantic. Tilting at windmills like Don Quixote. Pure in heart. If not exactly, indeed.
But what am I going to do now?
Oh, well, that's perfectly simple. You're going to march right over to the police and make your confession.
Oh, no, they won't listen to me. They never do. That's what started it, sort of, in the beginning. They won't listen to my complaints.
Well, perhaps now the shoe is on the other foot. You'll get a little more attention. Take this box with you and hurry along. I don't like to think of you getting caught in the rush hour.
Without a picture, there isn't much hope for the APB, but with the apartment staked out, Well, look who's here. You have another complaint, citizen?
Well, not exactly.
Do me a favor. Don't burden me. I got a lot on my mind.
So have I. And I want to get it off.
Look, what was your name again?
Hugo Mintner. And I want to show you something.
I am telling you that I haven't got the time. Hugo Mintner? I knew that name was familiar. You're Hugo Mintner?
That's right.
And what was it you wanted to complain about this time?
Oh, nothing. If you just listen.
Oh, I'm gonna listen, all right.
Well, that's better. I want to confess a crime. Several, in fact. 5, to be precise. My aunt said I ought to come in and tell you I've been a very naughty boy. I'm really quite happy here. The food is passable, and they leave me alone, which I like. Of course, they don't allow me models, but I've taken up finger painting, and I'm getting very, very good at abstractions. The only thing I really miss is my Friday visits to Aunt Minerva. You know, I wonder if she misses me.
I got the cards, Minerva.
In a minute, Bernice.
What are you looking at out the window?
Nothing, really.
It's Hugo. You miss him?
Just on Fridays.
How is it with him up on that farm there?
He seems quite happy. He writes very sweet letters.
That's nice.
Well, let's play. Now, what are you staring at?
Oh, I was just looking at your rose garden. God forbid I should mention it, but I never saw roses more beautiful. You don't suppose...
Bernice, shut up and deal.
Of course, Hugo was stark, staring mad. But, as he said, he meant well. It just seems a pity that he wasn't the only one to lose his head. I'll be back shortly.
Hi, this is Debbie Reynolds asking you to do something about guarding your life. If you were to ask me to name all 7 of cancer's warning signals, I'd probably leave out 1 or 2. But if one were to happen to me, like an obvious change in a wart or mole, I'd be sure to see the doctor. Let me suggest that you learn how to recognize these warning signals, too. Or better still, why don't you get in touch with your American Cancer Society for a free pamphlet that lists the signals, and then keep it on hand for reference. Remember, today there's often a lot we can do if cancer should strike. In fact, in most instances, the disease can be cured if it's detected and treated in time. I'd like it much better if I could say it could always be cured or prevented. That day will come, perhaps in our lifetime. It's up to all of us to help make it happen. Help by supporting your American Cancer Society. Give generously when your volunteer calls on you.
We want to wipe out cancer in your lifetime, so be sure your American Cancer Society gift is a generous one.
Hugo's portraits, while of dubious artistic value, due to the unavoidable publicity over the case, fetched an amazing price at auction. Aunt Minerva's first notion was to divide the money 5 ways and make some restitution to the girl's nearest relatives. But since the only claimants were some rather fancy gentlemen who all drove lilac or champagne luxury cars, she changed her mind and endowed a shelter for homeless cats. The animal variety, that is. Our cast included Robert Morse, Bryna Rayburn, Evie Juster, Jackson Beck, and Ian Martin. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. Now, a preview of our next tale.
Hey, what the?
Keep your voice down, Ron.
Fran, you're soaked to the skin, drenched.
I pretended I wanted to heat up the coffee, but I really wanted to get to you. I went out the kitchen door and came around to this window. Ronnie, what's the trouble?
He's holding me for ransom.
Ransom?
He wants $100,000.
$100,000?
My father is Garrett Prentice, the millionaire.
Oh, I've heard of him, yes.
Phil Carrington, if that's his name, phoned my father yesterday. The money is on the way, but what worries me is I'm sure Carrington's going to kill me once he gets it.
But if he gets the ransom money...
I don't think it'll make any difference. He knows I can identify him, so he hasn't much choice. He has to kill me. You and your husband, too.
Yes. We could identify him.
You've got to do something. We've got to do something.
But what?
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
At Wyatt's Cafeterias tonight. There's one in your neighborhood.
It's the goodest. It's cheaper than eating at home.
Eat at your nearby Wyatt Cafeteria.
You're listening to KRLD Dallas, 1080 on the dial.
I'm E.G. Marshall. Of all the sounds in the universe, perhaps nothing stirs the imagination more deeply than the sounds of the sea. Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Of all the sounds in the universe, perhaps nothing stirs the imagination more deeply than the sounds of the sea. People who have never crossed an ocean can still be transported in a walk along the beach, skirting the lapping tides, or standing high on the rocks with the waves crashing below. There's an eerie quality about the sea, and it conjures strange visions in any mind that is ready to receive them. Our story concerns the spell cast by the sea. Our mystery drama, What Happened to Mrs. Forbush, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elizabeth Pennell and stars Patricia Wheel and Gordon Gould. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. I'll be back shortly with Act One.
Excuse me, madam.
Oh, I'm in an awful hurry.
I just wondered if you could answer a simple question for me.
So do I.
The question is this. What happens this time of year?
Oh, that's easy. The kids get home from camp. Goodbye.
Nope.
What do you mean, nope?
Nope.
I mean, I should know when my kids get home from camp.
Well, the answer I had in mind was a tad more general in scope.
Well, I gave my answer. Let's hear yours.
You know, I'm glad you asked.
Are you?
You see, what happens this time of year is that Buick dealers are giving particularly great deals on all their 74 Buicks. For a family woman such as yourself, I think a neat little Apollo would be just the ticket. It's small, economical, but surprisingly roomy. And it's a Buick, so it's really quite elegant.
You don't say.
Uh-huh. Now, isn't that good news?
Yes.
I mean, that you can get such a nifty deal on such a nifty small
To be
car.
sure it is, yes.
To be sure. By the way, where do your kids go to camp?
Guam. It's a small island in the South Pacific.
Guam.
Suburban Savings in northern New Jersey would like to set you straight on savings. Straight off, Suburban offers you the highest interest allowed by law. A big 7.90% effective annual yield on Suburban's 7.50% savings certificates. And Suburban guarantees it from 4 to 10 years. Minimum $2,500. Federal regulations allow premature withdrawals on savings certificates, provided prescribed federal penalties are adhered to. Of course, Suburban also has a whole selection of other savings plans that keep your savings headed in the right direction, straight up. Why not head straight over to your nearest Suburban savings office, conveniently located in Bayonne, Edgewater, Elmwood Park, Emerson, Hackettstown, Morris Plains, Nutley, Paramus, Sparta, and Wayne, and let them set you straight on savings.
This story takes place at Captain's Cove on the shores of New England. Bert and Marjorie Desmond are inspecting a picturesque old house on a bluff overlooking the sea. They're city people, and in the past they have spent their vacations at mountain resorts or in dry desert places considered beneficial for the health of their son. But this year it's different, and they're getting more intrigued by the minute as Mr. Smith, the rental agent, shows them around.
Oh, Bert, the view and the window seat. I haven't seen one like this since my grandmother's house when I was a child.
I'm more interested in all these carved pieces over here. What do you call this stuff?
Scrimshaw.
Oh, yes. The things sailors made when they had time on their hands.
Old Captain had quite a collection. Most of it's over to the museum.
What can you tell me about this ship model? A schooner, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be Captain Forbush's ship, Desdemona. Sank, with all hands aboard.
Oh, Mr. Smith, is that an island I see way out there?
Nope, that's Man's Rock.
Oh, what a gruesome name. Was it the scene of a shipwreck?
I understand some fellow got murdered on that rock. Don't rightly know the circumstances. But there is an island further on out, known as Hiram's Hideaway. Said to be the place old Captain Forbush took himself off to when he wanted to get away from his wife. Good fishing.
I'll have to look into that.
Oh, Bert, are you sure we really want to take this house?
Let's see the rest of it.
There's a fine old staircase.
Beautiful railing. I don't think it's been dusted in years.
This house has been closed up most of the time. That's why it's such a bargain.
Is there anything wrong with it?
Nope. Tight as a drum. And a real historic monument. Now, you take this room.
Oh, it's wonderful. I've never slept in a four-poster bed.
Oh, boy, it's a big one, too.
And this door leads to a veranda.
Oh, my. This porch goes all the way around the house.
It always does in a captain's place of residence. A trademark, you might say.
Well, sure. This is what you call a widow's walk.
No doubt Miss Forbush did her share of pacing when the captain was away.
Well, no pacing for me, thank you. My husband has a desk job. What do you think, Bert?
About the house?
Yes. In a strange way, I've fallen in love with it. But I'm wondering...
Wonder no more. We're going right into that room I already call my study and sign a lease for the summer.
Bert.
Glad you've come to life. You haven't said a word since we left the cove. I thought you were asleep.
No. I've been thinking. And worrying.
Worrying?
About Robbie.
Robbie? I can hardly wait to get his reaction when he sees where he's going to spend the summer.
Bert, maybe we've made a mistake.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. That long, deserted beach and those rocks, it's a dangerous place for a boy.
You'll have a ball.
But it's not like any place we've ever stayed before. Have you forgotten how much of Robbie's life he's had to spend in bed?
I haven't forgotten. But that's all over. The doctor said so. He said it was time Robbie started doing the things boys his age like to do.
Not dangerous things. Bert, we're going to spend 3 months by the ocean.
You bet we are. And the sea air will be good for all of us.
Only, Bert, Robbie's never learned to swim.
Well, Robbie, what do you think of it?
Oh, man. This house is twice as good as you thought it was.
I didn't remember it was so musty. The place needs airing. I'm going to open some windows.
Dad, who's the old guy in the picture?
Why, that must be Hiram Forbush, the sea captain who built this house.
He sure has a lot of red whiskers.
He sure does. You know, they knew how to paint pictures back in those days. Watch this, Rob. Walk over here and see how his eyes follow you. Sort of as though he was looking at everything you did.
It's spooky. You think he's a ghost?
Oh, come on, son. You don't believe in ghosts, do you?
No.
Well, I'll let you in on a secret. I think your mother does.
Mom believes in ghosts.
Sometimes.
Oh, Pop.
What's all this about ghosts?
I'm teaching Rob to be the man of the house, so he can look after you when I'm gone.
Hey, I want to go to the beach.
Well, you can if your father goes with you.
Not right now. I have some things to do.
I'd go, only it's time to think about getting dinner ready.
I can go alone.
Sure you can.
Oh, no, Bert, not the first time.
First time for everything. And speaking of first times, how about that?
It's so strange to hear a telephone in a house like this.
Glad there have been some improvements since the captain's day. Guess I better find out who it is.
Pop said I could go to the beach.
Now, Robbie, I want you to be very, very careful. Follow that little path and watch your step climbing down the bluff.
Mom, I'm not a baby.
And don't stay away too long. Do you have your jacket?
Oh, Mom.
I'll be watching you from this window. Why, what's the matter?
That phone call from the office. Wouldn't you know they're having a crisis and they want me back?
Oh, no, Bert, we just got here. You're on your vacation.
Won't be gone long. Just for the day to help get things straightened out.
But it's a 4-hour trip.
I know. I'll have to start very early tomorrow morning. And I guess I better spend tomorrow night in the city.
But you promised that first thing tomorrow you'd see about swimming lessons for Robbie. It was a part of our bargain.
I know, honey, but it's just a matter of putting it off for a day.
Oh, you said... I thought I'd asked you not to climb on those rocks unless someone...
Beach club and make arrangements for swimming lessons. And we'll meet some people so that you'll know the neighbors, and Robbie will have someone to play with.
Robbie, dear, what were you doing on those big rocks today?
Just throwing stones in the water. Mom, I can make them skip real good.
I thought I'd asked you not to climb on those rocks unless someone was with you.
I only climbed a little way.
Well, no more climbing, young man, until your father gets back.
But he's been gone for 3 whole days.
Well, he's coming tomorrow. And we're going to let him know how well we've been getting along. Go to sleep now. I'm going out on the porch to watch the moon come up.
Mommy, you promised to open the window very wide so I can hear the sound of the water?
Yes, dear. The weather's changing. I can scarcely see the beam of the lighthouse. It's getting all misty. And don't be frightened if you hear the foghorn.
I like that sound. Night.
Good night, dear. Good evening. Is someone there?
I always stroll the veranda on a foggy evening.
Well, there is someone. Who are you?
I am Lavinia Forbush, and I presume you are the lady who is staying in my house?
Why, I guess it was your house. Only I'm staying here now. My name is Marjorie Desmond.
Didn't they tell you, Mrs. Desmond, that I never left this house? It belongs to me.
Belonged to you, Mrs. Forbush. Now it belongs to a man who lives in Boston.
Ah, he thinks he owns it. No one will ever take my place in this house. Come, let's walk this way. Ah, the fog is creeping over Man's Rock. Just the way it was that night.
No, I'm getting rather cold. I think I'll go inside.
Poor soul, you need a fine shawl like mine to keep you warm.
It looks like a lovely old paisley. Won't you come inside where it's warm? We could have a cup of tea.
No, indeed, Mrs. Desmond. I only set foot in my house when it becomes necessary to get something I want. I'll stay right here where I always stay, keeping my vigil.
But the fog is closing in. Really, Mrs. Forbush, I must go in.
Oh, how thoughtless of me. The damp night air must have chilled you to the bone. Here, let me put my shawl around your shoulders.
What about you?
Oh, I no longer feel the cold as I once did. My, it is grand to have a woman to talk to once more. Mrs. Desmond, my captain was a bold and adventurous man. He brought me precious gems from India, from Persia, and from China. Oh, dear Mrs. Desmond, you must not make my mistake. You must take your most cherished possessions and leave my house.
Oh, but I have no jewels, Mrs. Forbush.
Oh, dear lady, you have the greatest jewel of all, a son. How old is your boy, Mrs. Desmond?
Robbie's 9.5.
Just the age of my Jason. A most dangerous age.
I know. I worry about him.
And well, you might. What happened to me is history. And history has a way of repeating.
Really, I don't think I want to...
You will listen to me.
Please.
My Jason... Oh, he was a strapping lad who helped me with the chores around the house. And when Hiram's ship was in, the boy spent hours talking to the sailors, learning how to tie knots and carve those intricate things from bone and bits of wood.
My Robbie would like that.
And then one day, when Jason was 9 years old, his father came to me and said, I'm taking the boy on a journey. It is time he began to learn the ways of men.
Why, Bert said something like...
Too soon, I said, too soon. But my Hiram was a very determined man, and when he made up his mind, there was no stopping him. It's only a short journey, he told me. We are taking the Desdemona to the Caribbees, and Jason will go with me. I watched through the spyglass until the ship was far enough at sea to hoist the big sail which caught the wind. You do know what happened, don't you, Mrs. Desmond?
Don't tell me any more.
I must, if you would save your boy. Late that evening, the fog closed in the way it has now. And then began the long days and the lonely nights. Where is your son, Mrs. Desmond?
Why, he's in bed. And I hope fast asleep.
You hear that?
Yes. Foghorn is a lonely sound.
It's a lonely sound for women like you and me when we've lost.
Stop trying to frighten me.
There's still plenty of time.
For what?
To take your son away from here. Take him away and guard him with your life.
A foghorn is a lonely sound, and a ghost-ridden house by the sea is an unsettling place for a woman who is worried about her son. Perhaps in the light of day, when her husband returns, Marjorie will be able to shake her fears. On the other hand, suppose Mrs. Forbush is really trying to tell her something. We'll find out more shortly when I return with Act 2.
There's nothing wrong with drinking Budweiser sip by sip, is there? Well, the brewers of Budweiser think there's a better way. Sipping's fine if you're drinking wine. But Bud is the king of beers, a hearty drink. Look, rinse a 10 or 12-ounce glass with cold water. Then open a can or bottle of Bud and pour it right down the middle so it kicks up a good head of foam. Now, take a big drink and then swallow big. No sips. That's how it should be done. More taste, more beer drinking enjoyment. Thanks to exclusive Beechwood aging, Budweiser has a smoothness that lets it go down especially easy. Sure, it's an expensive way to brew beer, but brewing beer right does make a difference. That's why, when you say Budweiser, you've said it all. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis.
what's for dinner? Hey, ma'am, what you got?
What's for dinner? Your ShopRite supermarket suggests choice beef first cut chuck steaks just 59 cents a pound this week. Save too on smoked ham, shank portion 69 cents a pound, butt portion 79 a pound. For a quick meal, try Swanson's Frozen Hungry Man dinners, just 99 cents each. For dessert, ShopRite's produce department is featuring fresh honeydew melons, 79 cents each. They're great topped with ice cream. There's a lot more for a little less at ShopRite, so stop in soon.
She loves the family. She wants the best. She does all that she can do. She lets ShopRite do the rest. Hey, Ma, what's for dinner? ShopRite has the answer.
This is WOR New York, your Mystery Theater station.
If you're afraid of what the future has in store, perhaps you look to the past for guidance. But Marjorie Desmond has had a strange encounter with the past, which only bolsters the fears she already has for her son. Is it possible that a ghostly presence from a former time can prevent or promote an impending disaster? Marjorie's husband has returned from his business trip, and we'll soon find out how he feels about what's going on.
Bert, it's so good to have you back.
Way longer than I expected. But I've only been gone a few days. Same old thing. You should be used to it by now.
But this time it was different. I mean, this place...
Well, now, tell me what you and Robbie have been up to.
Bert, I want to show you something.
Hey, where did you get that paisley shawl? I like it.
So do I. It has such nice mellow colors.
Where did you find it? In the old captain's sea chest?
No. It was given to me.
Well, that's a nice gift. Who's been around while I was gone?
You're not going to believe this.
Well, let me guess. It was given to you, only it wasn't really a present. You had to pay some enormous sum for it, and now you're afraid to tell me how much it cost.
No, Bert. And I know you won't believe me.
I won't believe you if you say Captain Forbush came to the door and said, "My dear Mrs. Desmond, please let me in. I've returned from a long and tiresome journey, and it would please me very much if you would cook up some bacon and eggs."
No, Bert. It wasn't Captain Forbush.
I'm happy to hear that.
It was Mrs. Forbush.
What?
You're going to laugh. I know you won't understand, and I didn't either, only it happened.
For heaven's sake, Marge, what happened?
It was a foggy night.
You sure? Spooks always come out on foggy nights. Now tell me, where did you really get that shawl?
I got it from Mrs. Forbush.
Let's not play games. I'm tired.
She was there,
She
Bert.
was where?
On the widow's
Oh,
wall.
cut it out.
I talked to her, and she told me what happened to her husband.
Sure. Mr. Smith told us that. The captain was lost at sea.
But Jason...
Oh, who in heck is Jason?
Their son.
Oh, Marge, will you please talk sense? Now, where did you get that shawl?
I told you from Mrs. Forbush last night when we had a long talk.
Now, I've heard everything. Okay, it's a joke. And I do think it's pretty funny. We're living in a haunted house, so let's enjoy it. If you don't want to tell me where you found that thing, okay. I'll play your game. At least until tomorrow.
Don't you want to hear what she had to say?
I don't want to hear any more of this crazy story. Come to bed. And tomorrow we'll have a great big laugh over this whole thing. And maybe you'll remember where you really found that shawl.
That was the best picnic we ever had. Can we do it again tomorrow?
Well, not every day, Rob. Maybe tomorrow we'll go to the beach club.
I thought I might do some fishing.
Dad, can I go fishing with you?
Maybe we'll all go. How about it, Marge?
Count me out. You know how I feel.
I know. You like to eat the poor little critters, but it's cruel to catch them on those nasty hooks.
Well, it is.
Robbie and I may just go off and forget to come home.
Take your son away from here. Take him away and guard him with your life.
Well, honey, what's the matter? You look as if you'd seen a...
It's nothing, Bert, nothing. I just have to be alone for a minute.
Hey, Dad, what are all these things over here on the shelf?
That's called scrimshaw, Rob.
Scrim?
These are things that were made by sailors a long time ago. When they were on those sailing ships and the sea was calm, they didn't have much to do. So they carved pieces of bone or wood and painted shells.
I'll bet I could do that.
You'd have to learn how to use a knife.
Would you teach me, Dad?
It's bedtime, young man. Up the stairs.
If I was on a boat, I wouldn't be going up any old stairs.
I suppose you'd be climbing the ropes.
Or walking in the gangplank.
No, I asked that fisherman today where he slept, and he said down below.
Unless you want to sleep in the cellar, the direction is up. Get going.
Aye, Captain.
Nice day today, Marge. And I don't know when I've seen Robbie so happy.
Oh, he's certainly having a good time. And tomorrow when we go to the beach club, we can make arrangements to have him start taking swimming lessons.
I'm not sure they have regular classes.
Then we'll get him a private instructor.
Marjorie, I am perfectly capable of teaching him myself. I won a medal in college, remember?
Well, of course you're a good swimmer, Bert, and I thought... Oh, I suppose if Robbie had been well, you would have taught him long ago. But don't you think he'd learn more quickly now if an outside...
Hey, there's nothing wrong with his old man, is there, Marge?
I have to finish up the dishes. Let's talk about it when I'm through.
Robbie? Don't be frightened. I want to talk to you.
So you...
No, I'm the lady who lives here. My name is Mrs. Forbush.
Say, do you know the man with the red whiskers?
He is my husband.
Maybe you could tell me about that boat on the shelf downstairs and all those other things.
That ship was one of the proudest vessels to sail the seven seas, and Captain Forbush himself made that model.
Do you think it would sink if I tried to sail it?
Oh, you must never, never try.
Oh, my dad won't let me even touch that boat with the sails. But I can play with the other things. You know, the bones and the shells.
I know. And I brought you one that was a favorite of my son. He was just about your age. Now, do you have a candle I can light?
There is one over there in the bureau, but I could just turn on this light.
No need to waste electricity. I never had it in this house.
That doesn't look like a match to me.
A tinder box. Best thing in the world for striking a light. There. Now, Robbie, what do you think of this?
Wow. What a big shell.
This is for you, Robbie. To keep for Jason while he is away.
Where's he gone?
I'm hoping you will help me find him.
Oh, I'll be glad to help you. Because if he was here, we could climb the rocks together and explore that pirate's cave.
We'll look for him, Robbie. We'll look for him together. So now, if you will come with me...
I couldn't go anywhere without asking permission.
But this is my house, and I am giving you permission.
But I still couldn't go without asking.
Quickly, boy. Come on. Put on your clothes.
Mom! Dad!
What is it, Rob?
Why, Robbie, what are you doing with a candle burning? You know how dangerous...
I didn't light it, Mom. You tell them, Mrs. Where is she?
Where's who?
That lady, Mrs. Forbush. She was standing right there.
Oh, good Lord, not in here.
Rob, there's no one else in this room. You've been having a dream.
No, Dad. Honest, she was here. Look what she gave me.
Not you, too. Say, that's a very interesting shell. So where did you find it?
Dad, I didn't find it. Mrs. Forbush said it belonged to her son, and I could borrow it until he comes back.
That's a likely story. You can make up a better one than that.
But that's exactly what she said. I'm going to help her find him. And when he's here, we can play together down on the beach.
No, Robbie, dear, that's not possible.
You're both being impossible.
But the trouble is, we have to find Jason.
Oh, stop it, Robbie. I won't hear any more about this Jason. Rob, you've had a dream. It seems very real. But now it's over. And tomorrow you'll have forgotten all about it.
But, Bert, what about the candle? And the shell?
Well, there must be some reasonable explanation. But let's not think about it now. I'm blowing the candle out, and Robbie's going to sleep. Good night, son. You've been playing a joke on me, and I'll admit it's been a good one. You were very clever to get Robbie to go along with you. And I must say, he played his part well. But I can think of better games for a boy his age.
This was no game, Bert.
You didn't coach him to put on that act?
Of course I didn't.
Well, if it was a nightmare and he dreamed all those things about Mrs. Forbush and her mythical son, it was only because you filled his imagination full of stories.
I have never mentioned either Mrs. Forbush or Jason to Robbie.
Then there's a book about them somewhere around the house.
Well, if there is, I haven't seen it.
You must have had one of those imaginary conversations out loud, the way you do sometimes. And Robbie overheard you and you thought he was asleep.
Oh, Bert, I don't do that anymore, and I don't see how he could possibly have been listening the night I talked to Mrs. Forbush.
Marge, there is no Mrs. Forbush.
How would you know? You weren't here.
Honey, we're taking this whole thing too seriously. Mrs. Forbush lived nearly 200 years ago, so she can't be hanging around here now.
I suppose you're right.
That's my girl. Give us a smile.
Well, I'm trying.
Now repeat after me. No more conversations with Mrs. Forbush.
No more conversations with Lavinia Forbush.
Where'd you get that kooky first name?
Well, she told me.
Okay. No more conversations with Lavinia Forbush.
And what will we tell Robbie?
He's teaching me how to catch fish.
Oh, well, it looks as though you bought out the store. But did you get my groceries?
Yep, groceries are all right here. But hold off on the steak. We just may come back with something very special for the frying pan.
Look, Mom, my very own rod. Did you ever see one of these? This is a reel.
Yes, dear. It looks like a very nice reel. Where will you use it? Down at the wharf?
Nope. We're going to get Rob off to a really good start. I've rented a boat.
What kind of boat?
Oh, just a putt-putt. You know, one of those flat-bottom jobs with an outboard motor.
But you aren't going out to sea.
Sure. Well, look at it, Marge. Smooth as glass.
What do you know about the tides and the currents?
Marge, we aren't planning a trip to China.
Where are you going?
To that island. It's so clear today, you can see it from here. Don't you worry about a thing. See? I bought him a life jacket, and he's going to wear it every minute of the time. We promise, don't we, Rob?
Sure, Pop.
Promise me you won't go far?
I told you, we're only going out to that island. When Mr. Smith said the fishing is good. What did he say the island's called?
Hiram's Hideaway.
Oh, yeah. Sorry I asked.
Have a good time.
If you stand on the porch with the binoculars, you can watch us most of the way.
Well, Mrs. Desmond, I'm sorry you did not heed my warning.
Oh, no, please don't come back.
I've not been away.
But I don't want to talk to you. It was bad enough that you upset me, but you had no right to bother my son.
It was you who interfered, Mrs. Desmond. You and your husband. You spoiled it all. I was trying to save your son before this happened.
Nothing has happened, Mrs. Forbush, and I won't let you alarm me anymore.
But you are alarmed, Mrs. Desmond, and well you might be. Why did you let him go? See, they're already out of sight. And if you don't act quickly, you'll never see either your husband or your son again.
This time it seems more likely that the predictions of the ghostly Mrs. Forbush may come true. Marjorie is a worrier, but after all, Bert is not a seasoned sailor, and Robbie can't swim. No, they're not setting off for China, but they are tempting fate. And it's too late to turn back now. It is a calm and beautiful day at Captain's Cove, and it looks as though the fears of Marjorie Desmond were totally unfounded. Father and son have explored the island. A whole new world has opened up for a boy who has been housebound much of his life. And Bert is savoring the joys of feeling a new closeness to his son. It is late afternoon, and they are heading back reluctantly to the mainland.
Hey, Dad, can we do this every day? I'm going to catch a bigger one next time.
For a first try, you did very well. Maybe we can go deep sea fishing someday.
Maybe tomorrow. Korea.
Hey, we're doing all right with these smaller fellows. Flounder's good eating. You'll see.
Bet Mom will be surprised. We caught 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, Dad, remember what you promised about that rod?
Oh, it's late, Rob. I think we better not.
But you promised, Dad. Honest It'll only take a minute.
Well, I'm not sure I can get right up to the rock. The water's starting to get a bit choppy. Where was it you saw that piece of driftwood you wanted?
Up there, see? Looks just like a couple of deer's horns.
Otherwise known as antlers.
Only I'm going to turn it into whatever that other word is. Scrim, you know. Hey, stop the boat, Dad. It's right up there.
I can't just stop the boat, Rob. There's no place to anchor.
I could almost reach it if I stood on the seat.
Get down, young man. Now, what did I tell you? There's a tricky tide around here. He'll come back some other time.
Oh, but Dad, that piece of wood will be gone. Sometimes the waves go all over those rocks. I'll never find a piece like that one.
Oh. I'll try again. It's calmer over on this side.
Slow down some more, Dad.
There's no way to come in.
Like that flat place on the rock. You slow way down it, and then I'll jump off and get it.
Is your life jacket on tight?
Sure, Dad.
Okay, then. Be very, very careful. I'll idle the motor while you jump off. Grab your piece of driftwood and jump right back.
Here I go.
Uh-oh. The motor's died, and the boat's drifting. You stay right there, Rob, while I get it started.
Yes. I want to speak to someone at the boathouse down by the pier. The place where you rent boats to go fishing. Hello? Hello, this is Mrs. Desmond. My husband and son, are they there? No, they rented a boat from you this morning to go to the island. Well, I expected them back long before this, and I was afraid something might have happened. Well, I know it isn't late, but it's beginning to look stormy, and I can't see the island anymore. Could you send someone out to look for them? The Coast Guard Patrol? How do I reach them? No, thank you. I'll go to their station down on the beach.
No use going to the Coast Guard station, Mrs. Desmond. They've taken the cutter and gone in the other direction.
But Bert and Rob, I'm afraid they're in trouble.
They are in trouble, Mrs. Desmond. Out by Man's Rock.
Then we must send someone after them.
No one to send, unless we do it ourselves.
How can we?
I've done it before, and if the two of us pull together...
What are you talking about?
The rowboat over there. Can you handle an oar?
Well, once I knew how to row. I'm not sure that I...
Hurry, Mrs. Desmond. Before the storm sets in, I'm aboard.
Well, an old boatway. It's half full of water.
No time to be choosy. You fit this oar in the lock while I shove off with the other one.
There's a hole in the bottom of this boat, Mrs. Forbush. This is madness. We'll never make it.
Pull, Mrs. Desmond. Pull.
See, it's getting rough.
Aye, a storm is brewing.
We must turn back.
Too late, Mrs. Desmond. Too late. We must fulfill our mission.
That rock seems further and further away.
Oh, Mrs. Desmond. Oh, your oar.
It's no use, Mrs. Forbush. We're going to sink.
Stay away from that warning bell.
The boat is sinking, Mrs. Forbush. It's going straight to the bottom. We'll have to swim for it. Swim for the boy.
Save yourself, Mrs. Desmond. I don't know how to swim.
I've got hold of it. Mrs. Forbush! Mrs. Forbush! Help! Help!
Stay right there, Rob, until I can get closer. I can't seem to get this darn motor started.
Hello?
Who are you?
Hiram Forbush, at your service.
Captain Forbush?
Are you in difficulty?
Can't seem to get this stupid motor started.
Give me wind and sails any time.
But they're not going to help me now. My son and I...
Is your boy over yonder?
Yes. I should never have let him off on the rock.
Dead Man's Rock's a dangerous place to be. But one of my men will get him.
I'll be very grateful for anything you can do. We have to get home. Couldn't you put us ashore in a rowboat?
Can't spare the men to take down a longboat, and my only rowboat was most rotted away. So I left it back on the beach.
Oh, there must be some way. I'll pay you very well.
All the money I want is out where we're going, and we can't stay around here any longer. So climb aboard and...
No, I'll take my boy back to this boat, and someone else will come along, or they'll send the Coast Guard to look for us.
You won't last long in that thing. There's a storm coming up.
Then please, send up some kind of a signal, a flare, a rocket,
Shoot off a cannon and rouse the whole town. No need for that. We're not in any trouble.
But we are. My son and I. You know how it is. I believe you have a son.
I always wanted a son. Fine boy, this one. Just the right age for a first trip before the mast. Well, I'm giving you your last chance.
Captain Forbush, let's be sensible. I have obligations to meet.
Sounds to me as though you have a guilty conscience. Lively with the sheets, men. She's coming about. Up with the sails. And dead ahead.
Come around to the side, Rob, and jump!
I'm scared!
Jump, Rob! Jump! That's it, Rob! Hey, dog paddle! The jacket will hold you up. Here, son. Grab my fishing pole.
I got it!
Good boy. Hang on. That's it. Now, get hold of the side of the boat. Yeah.
Dad, I lost my stick!
Oh, forget it. Easy now. I've got you. Are you all right?
I'm okay, Dad. Boy. Did you see what I was doing? I was swimming.
Not quite. Here, Rob. Here's some of these rags to dry off. I'm going to try this motor one more time.
Rob, you made it.
Everything's going to be all right.
Hey, Dad, think sometime we could get a sailboat?
I'd rather not think about this just now, Robbie. We've had a close call.
And then maybe we could sail off.
Robbie, no more. We're lucky.
Dad, I hear someone calling.
Well, let's not let our imagination get...
Over there, Dad. By that thing standing up in the water.
Good Lord. There's someone clinging to the buoy. Marge, are you warm enough?
Never felt better.
And now, Marge, if you feel up to it, will you please tell us what in the name of heaven you were trying to do?
I started out in a rowboat.
That rickety old rowboat that was down on the beach?
Oh, yes. Did you know it was there? I hadn't seen it before.
That boat must have been 100 years old. Why did you...
I can't explain what was going on in my mind. Or at least you wouldn't understand. You see, I had this awful premonition that something terrible was going to happen to both of you, and that I must row out as far as that rock to save you. Well, the boat sank, and mercifully there was that buoy, and then you came along. Please don't ask me any more questions, because now that you're both safe, all those crazy notions I had are gone forever. But something did happen, didn't it, Bert?
Something happened, all right. We were starting back when the motor conked out. And you won't believe this, Marge, but suddenly everything was deathly still. And out of nowhere came this big old ship, like the one in the model over there. That's right, isn't it, Rob?
Oh, Dad.
And over the rail leaned that face with the cold blue eyes and the bristling red beard. None other than Captain Hiram Forbush.
Oh, you're being mean, Bert, but I guess I deserve this. Go on.
You don't believe me, do you, Marge? But I tell you, there he was, big as life. I begged him to take us back to shore, but he said he was heading for the Caribbees. He had Robbie up on the deck while I was trying to start the motor. And then that sailing ship started to take off. And I looked up, and that's when I yelled to Robbie to jump.
Hey, Dad, that's the best story I ever heard. Now can I tell Mom what really happened?
really happen?
You see, Mom, it was like this. I saw this piece of wood like antlers on that big rock. And I wanted to make something out of it. You know, some of that scrim stuff. And I begged Dad to let me get it. So he slowed down the boat and I jumped off.
Oh, that was dangerous, Rob.
Well, it would have been all right, except the motor conked out and the boat was drifting away. So I had to jump in the water, or I'd still be on that rock. And, oh, Mom, I was scared. But I almost swam.
A swimming lesson for you tomorrow, Robbie. I promise.
Mom, you tell me something, please?
Yes, dear.
What happened to Mrs. Forbush?
Well, Robbie, why do you ask a question like that?
I've been worried about her. She drowned, didn't she?
Yes, Robbie. She drowned. But that was a long, long time ago.
What happened to Mrs. Forbush was not as important as what happened to the Desmonds. A possessive mother learned she must loosen the bonds with which she held her only child, or live in an ever-present nightmare of fear. And a self-centered father discovered that if he neglected his wife and son, he ran the risk of losing them. Such lessons are learned and sometimes forgotten in strange and frightening ways. The ghost of Mrs. Forbush has been laid to rest. But the captain, since no trace of his ship was ever found, you may see the Desdemona sometime off in the mists on a foggy day. The sights and sounds of the restless ocean stir something deep within the soul. There are countless tales to be told of the sea. We'll look for some, to bring them along with other probings into those things which touch the dark and mysterious recesses of the human mind. Our cast included Patricia Wheel, Gordon Gould, Billy Lou Watt, Mary Jane Higby, and Guy Sorrell. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
WR Mystery Theater has been brought to you by ShopRite Supermarkets, where you get a lot more for a little less, and by Suburban Savings, with offices throughout North Jersey. The preceding Mystery Theater program is furnished by the CBS Radio Network.
I'm Fulton Lewis in the Mutual Broadcasting System studios in Washington, D.C. Now, my commentary. President Ford, carrying through with an idea that he unveiled only days after he took over the presidency, today officially offered judicial forgiveness to thousands of Vietnam-era draft dodgers and deserters, forgiveness on one condition, namely that they reaffirm their allegiance to the United States and work for up to 24 months in public service jobs to really underscore that allegiance. The amnesty program became effective immediately today when the president signed a proclamation and 2 executive orders during a brief nationally broadcast appearance in the White House Cabinet Room. Under that program, draft evaders and military deserters who have not been convicted or punished can turn themselves in before next January 31st, reaffirm their allegiance to the nation, and agree to spend up to 2 years in approved public service jobs, such as hospital orderly. The length of service, the president explained, could be reduced for mitigating circumstances. For men already convicted or punished for desertion or draft evasion, the president established a 9-member clemency board to review their cases as equitably and as impartially as is humanly possible. Just to ensure that the cases will be heard with a very sympathetic ear, the president appointed Charles Goodell, the former Republican senator from New York, and probably the most outspoken of all Republican critics of U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, as the new chairman of the new Clemency Review Board. A second member of the board, the Reverend Theodore Hesburgh, has spoken out in favor of unconditional amnesty, and thus will be a second sympathetic listener to clemency appeals. He is, of course, the president of Notre Dame University, and like Goodell, he was a very ardent critic of U.S. Vietnam policy. Men now in prison will have their cases reviewed first, and officials said that their confinement would be suspended as soon as possible. The president explained that in dealing with amnesty, he was following the precedents set by other presidents who faced similar post-war situations. He specifically mentioned Abraham Lincoln and Harry Truman, a Republican and a Democrat. The president added, quote, "My objective of making future penalties fit the seriousness of each individual's offense and of mitigating punishment already meted out in a spirit of equity has proved an immensely hard and complicated matter, even more difficult than I knew it would be." He recalled his own words in announcing back on August 19th that he would give the men involved a chance to, as he said then, to earn their return to the mainstream of American society. With the divisive Vietnam War over for more than a year, the president said, "I was determined then as now to do everything in my power to bind up the nation's wounds." You may be interested in some of the technical aspects of the amnesty order that was issued today by President Ford. Returning draft evaders will be required to report to U.S. attorneys within 15 days after they arrive back on American soil, while deserters will have to report to military commanders within that same grace period. Attorney General William Saxby said that he estimates that 2,500 draft resistors are going to take advantage of the conditional amnesty offer, and he said a larger number of deserters will also do so. Questioned by newsmen as he left a congressional hearing, Saxby said that the president's plan goes right down the line with recommendations submitted by both the Justice and the Defense Departments. Congressional reaction to the president's announcement was pretty mixed. Senate Republican Whip Robert Griffin of Michigan hailed the president's decision as a courageous, compassionate move, while House Republican leader John Rhodes of Arizona said that it should have broad support on Capitol Hill. Among the Democrats, House Speaker Carl Albert said that he is accepting the president's leadership, but he added, quote, "I don't know what he is going to do." Senate Majority Leader Mike Mansfield said that he will give full support to the program, but Alabama Democrat Senator James Allen seemed to be critical, saying that the action is going to be unfair to those who did serve in Vietnam. Senator Allen's view seemed to be the view of spokesman for some of the nation's veterans organizations. John Stang, the commander-in-chief of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, said here in Washington today that the president's action does a gross injustice to those who did serve honorably, those who died and received wounds, and those who were for so long imprisoned. Stang said that the veterans do not want revenge. He said all we ask for is justice. The president's program provides amnesty in exchange for the up to 2 years of alternative duty in public service jobs. Stang took issue with the idea of those public service jobs. He said, "Why provide jobs for those who would not serve in Vietnam when the unemployment rate for the young Vietnam veterans is now over 10%? William Houck, the national adjutant of the American Legion, said that the president's plan violates the principles for which millions served their country honorably. Thousands died in combat, and thousands more were wounded. Bus Mills, the executive director of the National League of Families of American Prisoners and Missing in Action in Southeast Asia, was equally unhappy about the president's announcement today, saying, "We are completely bewildered and disillusioned." He complained that the president announced his amnesty program before he announced any plans to obtain an acceptable accounting for the 1,300 U.S. servicemen that are still unaccounted for in Southeast Asia. On the other side of the coin, Mary Ramberg of the Mississippi chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union said that those who evaded service have committed no crimes, and yet the justice they're getting is really a mock trial outside the judicial system. Stephen Wayne Trim, a former Chatham, New York resident now living in Hamilton, Ontario, fled to Canada in 1969 after an appeals court refused to overturn his conviction on draft evasion charges. Trim, who sought exemption as a conscientious objector, was charged with bail jumping when he fled north. He said today that President Ford's plan leaves too many questions unanswered. He added, "I would have to be assured, even if I may get amnesty for the initial conviction, that I will have immunity from the bail jumping charges." As for the job program, Trim said, "It depends on the work. I have nothing against humanitarian work if it is truly humanitarian, but who knows yet what it is precisely going to be." Here are some of the statistics regarding the program that was unveiled today. Officials say that about 15,500 draft evaders are potentially eligible for the clemency. Of these, about 8,700 have already been convicted, and another 4,350 are under indictment. Of those under indictment, 4,060 are listed as fugitives, and an estimated 3,000 of them are currently in Canada. Prison sentences now are being served by 130 persons who were convicted of draft evasion. According to officials, some 500,000 incidents of desertion falling within the scope of the clemency program were recorded during the Vietnam War. They said 660 deserters now are serving prison sentences or are awaiting trial, and about 12,500 deserters are still at large, with about 1,500 of them in Canada. To be eligible for clemency, deserters would have to have committed offenses between August 4th, 1964, that is the date of the Senate's Tonkin Gulf Resolution, and March 28, 1973, the day the last U.S. combat soldier left Vietnam. Clemency will not be considered for deserters or evaders who face other unrelated charges. The President's proclamation today did not specify the types of jobs under the alternate service program, but officials said that they would be the same as those filled by conscientious objectors in the past, and roughly half of those jobs were in hospitals or other institutions, such as homes for the elderly. The salaries would be paid by the private employers. Officials said mitigating factors include cases of extreme hardship, willfulness of the violation, and the individual's behavior during the time he was being sought. By way of comment, it seems to me that the President's action today was very much in harmony with his handling of the Richard Nixon case. In both instances, Mr. Ford apparently has tried to weigh the facts of the situation and then do what he thinks is just. In both instances, in my view, justice has been the net product. Justice, as I discussed last week, is merited reward or punishment, or so it is defined in Webster's dictionary. In the case of Richard Nixon, there has been an admission of some misconduct or at least mistakes on the part of the former president, and there has certainly been punishment, the end of a political career and perhaps even of a private business career, plus the personal anguish that has touched not only Mr. Nixon but his entire family, and of course in the Nixon case, there is also the added problem of an apparently serious illness, a very serious illness, which Mr. Ford may well have taken into consideration when he spared Richard Nixon of any prosecution for any criminal offenses which may have been committed during his presidency. In the case of the Vietnam deserters and draft dodgers, there is now the gesture of goodwill and compassion on the part of the United States government, but there is also going to be merited punishment, coming in the form of those 2 years of public service work. That, in my view, constitutes justice. Let's try to heal the wounds of both Watergate and Vietnam, and let's work quickly to make both of them chapters of ancient American history. President Ford announced today that the White House Chief of Staff Alexander Haig, Jr. is being recalled to active military duty and will soon become Supreme Commander of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization forces. In the meantime, meeting here in Washington, the Republican National Committee today unanimously approved its first woman chairman. It also heard President Ford declare the November election in a battle to elect an inflation-proof Congress. From the Mutual Studios in Washington, I'm Fulton Lewis, and that's the top of the news as it looks from here.
Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to the world of fantasy that is your imagination. What am I saying? One's imagination a fantasy world? Nonsense. Rubbish. I should have said the world of reality. For what can possibly be more real than that which the imaginative powers of the brain conjure up? You question that? Consider, then, what happened to lovely, imaginative Nicky Carpenter.
You can't be serious.
You know I am, Nicky.
But what you're saying, it's nonsense.
You think so? You really think so, Nicky?
Alicia, Amanda, imagination didn't kill them.
True enough, my darling. But imagination, yours, will kill you.
mystery drama, Murder to Perfection, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Mercedes McCambridge and Joseph Campanella. Few will deny that what we call imagination is the greatest creative, yes, and destructive force known to the human race. The paintings of the Sistine Chapel existed inside the head of Michelangelo before he expressed them on canvas. Bach, Beethoven, Brahms heard their music in imagination before setting the notes to paper. This being so, you will understand how the story I am about to tell you, though bizarre, strange, macabre in the extreme, is true in every detail.
Nicky, dear.
Yes, Bill?
It's 11:30. The funeral chapel. They'll be closing it for the night in half an hour. Albert going home.
Alicia looks so lifelike there in the casket. I find it so hard to believe she's...
I know.
He murdered her, Bill.
No, Nicky.
Yes, he did. I know you think the sun rises and sets on your brother, but he murdered my sister. He murdered Alicia as surely as she lies in that coffin.
Nicky, dearest, you're tired and overwrought. You've been here all day, all night. You're exhausted thinking things that simply can't be so, saying things that make no sense. Guy loved Alicia. Why, in the year of their marriage, he was the most devoted husband a wife could ask for.
Excuse me.
Oh, Guy, come in.
Bill, Nicky, I thought everyone would be gone by now, that I could spend a little time alone with Alicia.
We were just leaving, Guy.
No, I'm not. I want to be with Alicia as much as possible until she's buried tomorrow.
That's exactly the way I feel.
Oh, you liar. Nicky. You killed her. You murdered her in cold blood.
Nicky's overtired, Guy. Overwrought.
Yes, of course, but even so, I don't understand. I mean, to say a thing like that.
Well, it's true. You know it is.
Now, look here, Nicky. Alicia fell or jumped from our apartment window. There was no one else in the apartment at the time, not even me. I was at my office downtown, so... Just where do you get this crazy, wild idea that I killed her? I don't know.
Well, you will.
What do you mean?
I mean that I'm going to prove that you murdered her. If it takes every cent I have in the world, if I have to dedicate the rest of my life to it...
Take her home and call a doctor. She needs sedation.
Yeah. Come on, Nicky. Nicky, sweetheart, haven't you looked at her long enough?
Guy will pay for killing you, Alicia. I promise you that. I promise. Yes, Nicky Carpenter. Oh, hello, Jacques. No, I'm not ready to announce my latest designs yet. Denim and suede combo. Where did you hear that? Oh, I'm sorry, Jacques. I'm not telling. Not this early. Yes, just as soon as I'm ready to announce, I'll make sure that you're the first one to know. Bye. Yes. Oh, of course. Bill, darling, what a lovely surprise.
Hey, I'm not interrupting in the midst of a creative brainstorm, am I, dear?
Oh, the man I madly love and am going to marry could never be an interruption. But this visit is unexpected.
I've got something serious to talk over with you.
Oh, huh?
It's about my brother Guy.
Yes.
I find this a little awkward, Nicky.
Awkward? Why?
Well, you and I are engaged, and Guy, he's my brother. And so the whole situation... Nicky, have you hired a private detective agency to check up on Guy?
Yes.
But why?
Because he murdered my sister, Alicia, and I intend to prove that he did.
Oh, come on now, Nicky. How can you go on saying such a thing, thinking such a thing? Whatever gave you the idea in the first place?
Guy, for one.
Guy?
I don't like him. I never have. Charming, yes, loaded with charm, and handsome and witty, and in my opinion, a deceitful fraud.
He just rubs you the wrong way. Even if everything you say is true, it doesn't make him a murderer.
Well, I think differently.
But you must have a reason, something more than just disliking someone.
I have. Alicia fell or jumped to her death from the window of their 12th-story apartment.
Accident. Suicide, perhaps. Not murder.
Yes, murder.
How in heaven's name can you say...
Because Alicia was scared to death of heights. In all her life, when we were kids together, she wouldn't dare go near an open window more than 2 stories above the ground. So what was she doing at that open window 12 stories above the ground?
I don't know. But it certainly doesn't make a murderer out of my brother.
Not on the face of it, no.
Guy loved Alicia. Why would he murder her?
For the $250,000 he got from her insurance.
Honey, you're letting that imagination you're so famous for run away with you.
I may be known for my imagination, but the private detective I hired isn't.
What does that mean?
I didn't know that Guy had lived in Europe for nearly 15 years. You never told me.
It never came up. But what's that got to do with...
He was out of touch with you, completely, totally out of touch all those years, right?
Well, yes. I mean, I had no idea where he was. Or
Did you know that he'd been married twice while living abroad?
What? No.
And that both wives died under what is usually called mysterious circumstances, leaving your brother more than $500,000 in cash?
Good Lord, no. I never knew this. Guy has never told me anything about any of this.
Well, maybe you ought to ask him about it.
Well, to be honest about it, Nicky, I've never cared much for Guy either, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, I think it is. And it certainly confirms my feelings about it.
Feelings aren't facts. And it's facts that stand up in a court of law, and that's where you're going to find yourself if you don't drop this whole ridiculous thing. Guy intends to sue you if you don't. Sue you for defamation of character. And as a lawyer, I can tell you, he'd win, hands down. Unless you could prove your accusations, hands down.
Well, then I have nothing to worry about. He murdered his first 2 wives. He murdered my sister. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And before I'm through, I'll prove it. What do you want?
I don't think it's a matter of what I want, but what you want. May I come in?
There's nothing I want from you, Guy.
Oh, you do. Believe me, you just don't know it. Yet. However, if you're not interested...
No. Wait. Come in.
I knew you'd change your mind.
You seem very sure of yourself.
Well, I'm sure of you, anyway. You see, Nicky, you're gifted with a vivid imagination. At least, so they say in the fashion column.
Well, they have to manufacture news. They exaggerate.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. They don't exaggerate in the slightest. I just proved that.
You proved it.
I knew once I had something you wanted, your imagination would invent all sorts of interesting possibilities. And you'd be unable to turn me away until you found out.
You're very clever. Well, what do you want? I beg your pardon. What is it I want?
Well, one thing you want is peace of mind, the ability to do your work. Another thing you want is to go on living in this very swank penthouse apartment, enjoying the fruits of the fortune you possess. Nicky, I can take all that away from you.
Oh, can you?
And will. Unless you, as they say, call off the hounds.
The private detectives.
The private detectives.
There'll be no calling off of the hounds, Guy.
All right. Then I shall sue you for defamation of character. Sue for every penny you possess.
I have not defamed you. Neither I nor the private detectives have said a word to anyone.
But I have.
You?
Of course. I knew you were taking precautions to keep your skirts clean until you could prove your suspicions. So, I upset your precautions merely by dropping the right words in the right place. Amanda Jordan being one of the right places.
That poor, sad alcoholic.
Alcoholic. Yes. Sad? Yes. Poor? No. Dripping with money. That's why I'm marrying her on the 10th.
You are... are marrying.
You object? Save your breath. Do you no good. The point is, being alcoholic, Amanda talks so strong. She also gets around. What you're doing to me, Nicky, or trying to do to me, is all over town this very minute. And in the right places. If we went to court tomorrow, I could prove on unimpeachable evidence that you have hired detectives to dig into my past to substantiate false accusations you have made against me. Accusations, I may add, which happen to be anything but false. But you can't prove them, Nicky, and never will.
Are you standing there telling me that you did? That you are?
A murderer? Oh, yes. Oh, you're altogether right. I did murder them. All three. Your sister Alicia included.
Oh.
But, you see, all three murders were so cleverly engineered and executed that no one would ever believe I had done them, let alone succeed in proving that I had.
My God. To stand there and tell me to my face that you're a murderer, that you murdered my sister.
As I shall murder Amanda Jordan, thus executing another perfect crime. A murder to perfection, you might say. What are you doing?
I'm phoning Amanda.
Phoning Amanda? To tell her that I'm going to kill her? Nicky, please, don't be a fool. Put the phone down.
No.
All right, go ahead.
Amanda, this is Nicky Carpenter. Nicky Carpenter. Yes, Amanda, are you... Oh, Amanda, can you understand me?
Smash, I could have told you that.
Amanda, listen to me.
That'll be the day.
Amanda, please listen carefully now. Guy is here with me in my apartment, and he has just told me that he intends to murder you. Yes, I know you're going to marry him. That's the point of what I'm telling you. He's... No, I'm not inventing it. I am not a jealous fool. She
didn't believe you? In her hazy alcoholic way?
Oh, you are evil. You are a devil.
I haven't hesitated to tell you what I do, Nicky, because there's no way ever you can prove anything. But there's every way I can prove that you've damaged my career and altogether left yourself open to what are called punitive damages. A great big lump of punitive damages.
You evil
And if what I've told you fails to persuade you to call off the hounds, I can still take one more step.
One more step?
Kill you, Nicky. Kill you. And no one the wiser.
Imagination. It plays like heat lightning in dark and ominous skies inside the heads of two people, Nicky Carpenter and Guy Weston, each seeking to combat, to outwit the other. The imaginative force within Nicky is good, that within Guy, evil. Certainly at the moment, it would appear that Nicky is helpless, that Guy has her where he wants her, that she must lose the battle. He win. Well, we'll see when I return shortly with Act 2. No such thing as the perfect crime. If that's what you've always thought, think again. For it certainly appears that Guy Weston knows how to murder to perfection. He is so sure of himself that he's candidly told his brother's fiancée, Nicky Carpenter, that he not only murdered her sister, but two previous wives. Furthermore, he's freely admitted that he intends to murder his next wife, Amanda Jordan, and may even do away with Nicky.
Do you mean to say that he stood there and confessed to you?
Not confessed. He bragged. He boasted. Flaunted their murders in my face and said he intended to murder Amanda after they're married.
I can't believe this, Nicky. I just can't.
He's hit on a way of committing the perfect murder.
Nonsense.
Bill, listen to me.
No, Nicky, you listen to me. I don't know what's caused all this. I know you're overtired. I know you're knocking yourself out to get your next fashion show ready. But whatever it is, Nicky, dear, stop it.
Stop what?
These These imaginings of yours, these wild accusations about my brother being a murderer, a perfect murderer yet.
Bill, he killed Alicia.
He did not kill Alicia. Alicia fell or jumped from a 12-story window when Guy was in his office miles away. So how in heaven's name could he have killed her?
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping the private detective I hired will come up with.
You're still using a private detective?
Of course.
I warned you, Guy will sue you for everything you've got on grounds of slander, defamation of character, and win.
I know. He told me that himself. He also said that if I push him far enough, he might even murder me.
I'm just not going to believe this. I can't believe it. I'd be an absolute nut to believe it. As nutty as...
As me? Well, is that what you're saying? I see. Well, in that case, Bill, I think I'd better give this back.
You're giving me back our engagement ring?
Yes.
Nicky, you're letting...
No. I am not overtired. I am not letting my imagination run away with me. I did not create or invent what I just told you about Guy coming to see me. It's true, every word of it.
Nicky.
Please. He will kill Amanda if I can't stop him. And he'll kill me if, as he puts it, I don't call off the hounds. Well, Bill, I may be a nut with an imagination that's running wild, but I'd say Guy wants me to call off the hounds because he's scared to death they'll run him to the ground. And I'm betting that they will. Betting everything I have. My fortune, my career, my life.
You ask me, she needs a psychiatrist.
She's just terribly tired, exhausted.
So because she's tired, I'm supposed to let her slander me? Wreck my career, my life? Do you know that because of that crazy phone call Nicky made to Amanda almost called off our engagement?
Well, she didn't. You're married. No harm done.
Hello, Amanda? Nicky. Amanda, I'm just calling to tell you that Guy is going to murder you after you're married. Now, that's a hell of a thing to say. I mean, that's just a plain hell of a thing. And when that tape is played in court...
Tape? What tape?
Amanda had a tape recorder hooked to her phone that automatically taped messages. She's alcoholic, you know, and most of the time she can't remember who called her about what, so she records all conversations.
Guy, do me a favor, will you? Destroy that tape and call off your suit against Nicky.
Oh, Bill, I can't. The accusations she's made, everybody knows about them. Nobody believes them, of course. At least, I hope nobody believes them. But she's made a laughingstock of me. Bill, I just can't sit back and do nothing to protect myself.
I suppose not. Well, thanks for your time, Guy. I'll see you.
Wait a minute.
Yes?
Oh, well, hell, you're my brother. I'll do it for you.
Will?
Yes, but with one proviso, Bill.
Name it.
One more word out of her about me. One more crazy accusation, and I'll nail her to the wall. So help me, I will.
There'll be no more accusations. I'll see to that. Somehow, I'll convince her.
Excuse me. Yes, Miss Mason. Captain? Of the police? We shall, of course, put him through. Now, what can this be about? Yes, Captain, this is Guy Weston. You're calling from my home? But what are you doing? Of course I can come home right now, but what's happened? Captain, stop beating about the bush. What the hell has happened? Wait. What? You're sure? Oh, yes, I'll be there as fast as I can make it.
What?
Amanda. He said, the captain, a combination of alcohol and sleeping pills. Oh.
Easy. Look, I'll go home with you.
Yes. Please, get my hat and coat.
Here, your coat. Let me help you.
Thanks. Oh, Bill, I guess you know this means I can't call off my suit against Nicky.
Because Amanda's...
Nicky's accusations, everybody will believe they're true now. Well, I've got to prove they're not. I'm going through with the suit, Bill. I have no option.
do you want?
Wait a minute, Nicky. Don't close the door. Let me in.
I'd as soon let in a snake.
If I was afraid of snakes, I'd want to keep an eye on them. Know what they're up to. You better let me in, Nicky.
All right, Guy. Make it quick. No, don't sit down. You won't be staying that long.
Oh, I think I will. I got a lot to say to you, Nicky.
Well, then say it. And get out.
First thing I want to say is that, of course, Amanda's death was no accident.
I know that.
The second thing I want to say is yours won't be either.
What?
You've gone white. Well, I can't say I blame you. I'd be scared, too, if someone told me I was going to kill myself.
Oh? I'm going to kill myself. Commit suicide, just like that.
Mm-hmm. Just like that.
And you're going to see to that.
I am.
And what reason will I have for taking my own life?
Guilt. Shame.
Guilt? Shame over what?
Of making false accusations against a certain Guy Weston. Me.
The accusations I made against you were true, not false. So why should I feel any guilt or any shame?
Yeah, Nicky, you are going to murder yourself, so to speak, just as my European wives did. As Alicia did. As Amanda did. Since you're going to be my next victim, I should think you'd like to know how it's all going to be accomplished.
I am not in the least interested.
I'm going to tell you anyway. I've said this before, and I apologize if I bore you. But I am quite possibly the only person in the world who has discovered how to commit the perfect murder. Would you believe that I found myself taking karate lessons in Japan when I was there? Now, so help me, I did. And suddenly, one day, the thought crossed my mind, if you can use an opponent's physical strength or weakness against him, why can't his mental strength or weakness be used against him as well? The answer quite simply is, of course, it can.
Well, I don't see how.
You will. You will, my darling, you will. Now, consider Alicia. I had only to find her weakness to ensure her death. And I did. Her weakness was agoraphobia. That's the intense fear of heights. The reason such people fear heights is because they have a powerful, often overwhelming compulsion to throw themselves off into space. Well, such was Alicia's weakness. The weakness that I turned against her.
How?
Simply by laughing at her, showing contempt for her fears, taunting her for her inability even to go near a high window. I needed her, goaded her, irritated her until, to strike back at me, to prove me wrong, she would go to that 12th-story window of our apartment again and again, and open the window and stand looking down at the traffic far, far below and say to me, "See, I can do it."
Oh.
And she did. Until the day I knew would come sooner or later, the day her nerve broke, compulsion overcame her, and she threw herself to her death.
Oh, you...
Now, wait, no, claws.
Please.
Don't you try your claws on. Don't you try your claws on me again. Now, as for Amanda, her weakness was alcohol and sleeping pills. My first step in murdering her was merely to replace her pills with placebos, which of course had no effect. Now, when she complained, I told her she probably needed stronger sleeping pills, and saw to it that she got them, along with plenty to drink, you understand. Her death was a foregone conclusion. Once again, using my victim's weakness against her, she killed herself. And I, the real murderer, remained scot-free.
And I am your next victim.
You are. You'll be within 2 weeks. In fact, you don't know it, but you've already written your suicide note. On this.
That's one of those shirt pocket tape recorders.
That is, you see, I was carrying in my shirt pocket. Everything we've said to each other since I came through that door has been recorded on this tape.
Yes, but I did not record a suicide note.
Correction. You will have. Once I have edited and altered the tape, then re-recorded it. I'll let you hear it. Now, that's the least I could do.
And perhaps you'd be good enough to tell me what strength or weakness of mine you intend to use against me.
With you, no weakness. Strength.
Which is?
Come on, you know your strong point as well as I do. You tell me.
My imagination?
Precisely. Within 2 weeks or less, Nicky, you're going to be murdered by your own imagination.
Murdered by her own imagination? How in the world can that be done? Come to think of it, people have been killed by terror, by sudden fear, overwhelming panic. But it can't happen that way with Nikki. She's too strong, too self-controlled. What way, then? What plan has Guy in mind? We'll find out shortly when I return with Act 3. Can your imagination kill you? Murderer Guy Weston says it can, and since he's been eminently successful in doing away with a number of victims, it would appear that Nikki Carpenter is about to become his latest. He won't kill her. Oh, no. She will kill herself, the instrument of death being her own imagination. Up to now, Guy Weston has murdered to perfection. Up to now.
Hello?
Hello, Nikki. This is Guy. No, don't hang up. I want to play your suicide note to you.
If you think you can scare me...
Scare you? That's not my purpose at all, Nikki. I simply want to keep you in touch. Now then, here's the first step to your murdering yourself. Listen.
The accusations I made against Guy Weston were false. I feel guilt, shame. I'm going to kill myself. Commit suicide.
There it is, Nikki. Your suicide note in your own voice, recorded by you on the tape recorder that will be found in your apartment.
You vile, evil...
Bye for now, Nikki.
Now, Nikki.
Bill. Oh, Bill, you've got to help me.
Of course I will, sweetheart.
I'm so sorry I broke our engagement. That was stupid of me. But I was so upset and frustrated.
Don't you think I realize that? The nice thing about a broken engagement is that it's easily repaired by putting the ring back on the girl's finger. Now hold out that pretty hand of yours, young lady.
Oh, Bill.
And now a kiss to make sure the repair holds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a repair that'll hold forever.
It will, my darling, it will.
Now then, new fashion season or no new fashion season, you're going to take a week off.
A week off?
At least a few days. Get away from work, out from all the pressure you've been under.
Bill, what are you saying?
I'm saying that I'm going to take you up to my place on the lake for a long weekend. See that you rest, relax, and recuperate from the heavy workload you've been... Oh, what is it?
You haven't believed a word I said.
Well, now, Nikki...
No, everything I've told you. Guy admitting he's a murderer, saying he's going to see that I kill myself, the fake suicide note he tricked me into taping. You don't believe any of that.
Nikki, sweetheart, we've been through all this. But you broke your engagement to me because of it. Don't...
Please, will you believe me? Will you please believe that what I'm telling you is true? Your brother, Guy, is a murderer. He murdered my sister Alicia by tricking her into jumping out of a window. And he murdered Amanda, as he said he would. And as I told you he would.
Amanda died from combining alcohol with sleeping pills.
Sleeping pills that were any number of times stronger than anything she ever took before. Your brother murders people by tricking them into murdering themselves. And he's told me that he's going to do the same to me.
By maneuvering you into killing yourself with your own imagination? Nikki, be reasonable. You know you'll do no such thing. Sure. You're a highly imaginative woman, but you're also a very practical, down-to-earth woman.
If only I could convince you
Let me convince you of something. Convince you that one of the best things you could possibly do would be to...
Yes? To what?
Have dinner with me tonight and go to the theater afterward.
Oh, Bill.
Look, I'll pick you up at 6:30. Cocktails, dinner, and any play or musical you want to see. Date?
Oh. Date.
Excuse me. My name's Bill Weston, and I believe I have a date for dinner in the theater with a very charming young woman.
Yes, you have.
And is she ready?
Just about. All she has to do is put on her hat and gloves.
Not before she gives her husband to be a kiss.
What? Spoil my makeup? You have to wait till we get back.
Something to look forward to. Hey, snazzy hat. You do something for it.
Thank you. Ow.
What's that?
Ooh. There's something in the finger of this glove. Look, my finger's bleeding.
Let me see. Oh, your finger's cut.
Well, how could I possibly cut my finger on a glove?
Just a sec. Turn the glove inside out. Well, how did this get inside your glove?
What? What is it? I don't see it.
Oh, it's so small you can't hardly see it. A tiny bit of glass.
Oh, how could anything like that get inside my glove?
I don't know, but...
Oh, dear. Excuse me. Hello?
Guy, Nicky.
Yes.
Brother Bill told me he's taking you to dinner in the theater tonight.
So what of it?
Nicky, don't wear gloves tonight.
Don't wear...
Oh, dear. I'm too late. You've already put them on, have you? And cut your finger?
Yes.
Oh, well, just a scratch. I mean, nothing to worry about. Unless the bit of glass inside your glove was poisoned.
Poisoned? Hello? Hello?
Honey, what is it?
He hung up.
Who?
Your brother Guy. My murderer.
Nicky? How do you feel?
Sick. My head aches. My stomach's upset.
But if Dr. Wells said he could discover no signs of poison...
He won't be sure until he's tested the blood sample he took. Why doesn't he phone?
Here. The devil. I'll run to the doctor. Hello? Yes, doctor. Oh, good. Well, doctor, we appreciate your coming over and all you've done. Thanks again, doctor. Not a trace of poison, Nicky.
Well, then why do I feel so awful?
I guess because you thought you might have been poisoned. But you weren't, honey. It was just all in you.
Say it, Bill. It was all in my imagination.
Then you admit, Guy, you admit you telephoned Nicky last night.
What is this, Bill? Some kind of inquisition? You walk into my office the first thing in the morning and start shooting questions at me as if I were guilty of something. Yes, I did phone Nicky last night. What about it?
What did you phone her about?
To tell her I was withdrawing the suit I brought against her for defamation of character.
You are withdrawing it?
Yeah, I know I said I'd have to go through with it, but, well, you are my brother. And she is your fiancée, and well, hell, I just couldn't go through with it, that's all.
And that's what you phoned her about?
What else would I phone her about? Well?
Forget it, Guy. Forget it.
What could be... It's 3 a.m. Who can be calling? Hello?
Nicky, listen. The accusations I made against Guy Weston were false. I feel guilt, shame. I'm going to kill myself. Commit suicide.
Pleasant dreams, Nicky. Pleasant dreams.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I ask you, all of you, who you think you are. I mean, I am Nicky Carpenter. I created the Nicky Carpenter collection, and not you.
Nicky, please.
Oh, shut up. I've heard enough out of all of you. Now, you listen to me. When I ask for black mousseline, I want black mousseline. And when I ask for white file, I want white file. I don't care what your reason is. Don't change my orders. Now, get out of here, all of you, the lot of you. Get out. Get out. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. Please. Please, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, please. Please.
Yes? Yes, put him through. Yes, Dr. Welch. Well, I'm worried about it, too. She's not sleeping, not eating, a bundle of nerves. I'm wondering if you could recommend a good psychiatrist. Why? Because I think she's in need of psychiatric help. Huh? Well, I'll certainly come to see you. When? Right. Be in your office in half an hour.
Hello.
3 in the morning and you answer at once? Not sleeping, Nicky?
Oh, what do you want?
Question is, what you want. What your imagination has brought you to wanting. Death.
I won't listen to you.
No need. Listen to your imagination. That's what you've been doing. Imagining how, just quite how, you'll reach the point where you'll kill yourself.
You, myself.
The gun is in the drawer of your night table.
Oh.
Save yourself a lot of agony, Nicky. Use it. Tonight. Now.
Bill. Yes, Guy? It's late. They'll be closing the chapel in half an hour. Everybody's gone.
I want to stay with Nicky, be with her as much as possible until she's buried tomorrow.
There's no good to punish yourself, Bill. She's gone. Nothing you can do now.
But could I have done something before?
Before?
Listen to her fears, her worries. Guy?
Yes?
I'd like to look at her before... Could you ask someone to come in and open the casket?
You don't want that?
Yes.
No.
Guy, please.
Bill, she isn't presentable. You know, a gun to the temple.
Yes. All right. But I'll stay till they close the chapel at midnight. I won't do the same for you, though, Guy.
You won't? For me?
When you're lying in your casket to be buried next morning, I'll not sit with you, keep no vigil for you. Not for a murderer.
You're saying some very funny things, Bill.
I know you killed Nicky.
You what?
I know you killed her, made her kill herself, drove her to it.
Bill, I think you could use a drink.
You can use a lawyer. Get yourself one. I've got you with the goods, brother.
What are you talking about?
I was there in Nicky's apartment when you called and told her about the gun. I heard every word on the phone extension. I made a point of staying with her constantly after a little conference I had with Dr. Welsh, Nicky's physician, who convinced me that she was as sane as I am, living on the edge of nerves rubbed raw, driven to the end of her rope, her emotional rope, and imagining things.
You were there when I phoned?
Oh, more to it than that, Guy. I went to your place, found the original tape, the one you recorded her suicide note from.
You're lying.
Am I?
You couldn't have found the original tape. I destroyed it.
Then there was an original.
What?
You just admitted there was an original tape from which you recorded, edited, altered, and re-recorded Nicky's suicide note.
All right, you're so bloody smart. All right. I did kill her the way I killed the others, by using their weaknesses, their strengths, so they would kill themselves. So do me something. Huh? Prove something. So I slipped. I admitted there was an original tape, so what? Who heard me say it? You? Me? Her? She's...
No, God. I'm alive. I'm very much alive.
Nicky?
You have been tricked this time. I did not kill myself. It was all faked.
Once I was convinced Nicky was telling the truth, trapping you, Guy, was simple.
Trapping me? You haven't trapped me.
But we have. You've admitted everything.
Who heard me? You? Her?
And you, Guy. You.
You think I'd testify against myself in a court of law? Testify against myself?
As a matter of fact, you will.
You're crazy.
But this isn't.
A tape recorder. A shirt pocket tape recorder.
You used this same little device to drive Nicky to suicide and failed. I'll use it. to send you to jail. And, Guy, I'll succeed.
And so, imagination. This time not only Nicky's, but Bill's imagination, the most powerful force on earth, for good or ill, brings an insidiously clever murderer to ground. I'll be back shortly. When you first joined me, I spoke of imagination as a world of fantasy, then corrected myself to say it is a world of reality. I'd like to correct myself again. It is truly a world of fantasy and reality. Question is, which is it? When? Our cast included Mercedes McCambridge, John Newland, and Joseph Campanella. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.